Chapter 284. What a bunch of idiots! An extremely disdainful voice instantly aroused the anger of the pirates. All of them looked at him with hostility and dissatisfaction, and they almost rushed over to kill him. The one who started it all, the blue-haired youth, stood on the shore without any fear. Luckily, the leaders of both sides had their subordinates under control and wouldn't easily fight. The eyebrows of the severed blood-bald eagle furrowed as a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he started to discuss with the azure-robed Taoist next to him. Master Bai revealed a weird expression as he glanced at Zhao Feng. After all, everyone's thoughts were affected by this blue-haired youth. The failure just now also made the severed blood-bald eagle and company unhappy with Zhao Feng and Bai Qiaoyu. "Brother Zhao, what went wrong?" Bai Qiaoyu asked. "It's best to send an expert at half-step true spirit realm. Don't be like that idiot who didn't even dare to circulate his true force," Zhao Feng said casually. His expression was relaxed and casual, as if he was an outsider in this fight for the treasure. Hearing this, the transverse water stronghold side were stunned. So that's how it is. That idiot. Everyone understood. Going with the flow of the whirlpool could reduce the pressure, but they had to protect their bodies as well. The pirates immediately felt a little embarrassed. That pirate from before was too cautious. However, a corresponding question also arose. This youth was clearly standing on the shore. How did he know what's going on? The azure-robed Taoist's eyebrows furrowed. Only the two at True Spirit Realm could spread out their spiritual sense to a certain degree and clearly see what was going on in the river. Only Master Bai had a thoughtful expression. That day when Zhao Feng had been fished out, he had already found the latter's unique bloodline. Next, both sides followed Zhao Feng's suggestion and sent an expert at half-step True Spirit Realm to go with the flow of the whirlpool. At this time, the two at True Spirit Realm both released their spiritual sense. The spiritual sense of those at the true human rank could usually spread out several miles, but in this area, it was greatly restricted. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye easily saw the details below. This time, the two strong martial artists who were diving down used true power to protect their bodies and did not resist the whirlpool. They even followed the flow of energy and dived into the depths of the river. There was still a vast area in the depths of the river that needed to be explored. Even the severed blood vulture and Master Bai's spiritual senses were blurry in this area. However, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was still able to grasp the details. He even knew where the water moon treasure was. After half a cup of tea's time, two streaks of smoke appeared at the bottom of the river and disappeared in a flash. Success! Both Master Bai and the severed blood vulture revealed looks of joy. This was a signal from the people below. Zhao Feng stared at the bottom of the river, deep in thought. It was easy to pass through the natural whirlpool array, but how was he going to return? If one wanted to return to the surface, they would face the reverse whirlpool, and only those at the True Spirit Realm would be able to safely return. However, only an extremely small number of people could think of this. Most people were blinded by the enormous benefits of the water moon treasure, so how could they think of this? Thump! 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 The two sides followed the same pattern and jumped into the whirlpool array. Everyone, let's kill our way in. Master Bai couldn't suppress the excitement on his face as he charged into the whirlpool. Zhao Feng wanted to say something, but it was too late to stop them. According to his analysis, although following the whirlpool could greatly reduce the pressure, there was still a limit. For example, if someone at the consolidated realm entered the whirlpool, they would probably be instantly torn to death. Zhao Feng estimated that he had a high chance of success after reaching the seventh sky, but it wasn't 100%. After all, the power of the whirlpool varied and it depended on luck. Of course, those at the half-step True Spirit Realm would definitely succeed. Zhao Feng and Bai Qiaoyu entered the whirlpool area together. Master Bai had ordered two experts at the half-step True Spirit Realm to protect Bai Qiaoyu, including the head of the Bai family. The head of the Bai family thought of how mysterious Zhao Feng was and how he seemed to understand the whirlpool array very well, so he decided to go with him. Reality proved that he had made the right bet. The people following Zhao Feng found that the pulling force of the whirlpool was smaller than expected. Zhao Feng's path wasn't a straight line, but an arc. The result? These people were abnormally relaxed, and Bai Qiaoyu, who was at the fifth sky, could barely pass through. On the other hand, the sound of water crashing could be heard from the other areas, and cries of pain could be heard. By the time they reached the bottom of the river and left the whirlpool area, both sides had lost more than half of their forces. Those below the seventh sky of the ascended realm had all died at the bottom of the river. There were even 2 cultivators at the seventh sky of the ascended realm who were unlucky enough to be pulled to death by the whirlpool. Only those at the half-step true spirit realm had died. This situation made the head of the Bai family's expression change, and he couldn't help but look at Zhao Feng in a different light. This was because none of the people following Zhao Feng had died. At the same time, near the riverbank. Swoosh, 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 2 men and a woman slowly landed on the shore from a distant ravine. The one in the middle was a youth wearing a brocade robe. He had white skin and held a fan in his hand with a wicked smile on his face. On his left and right were a beautiful girl and a short elder with the brocade-robed youth in the middle. When the 3 landed, the brocade-robed youth gave off a powerful aura of the true spirit realm. Who's there? There were still a few people left on the riverbank and the pirate boats who were on guard. Before he finished his words, the brocade-robed youth waved his fan and dozens of peach blossom-like fan shadows flashed through the air. These fan shadows were like nothingness that instantly merged into the target's body. The body of the target that was merged into instantly started to rot, and within a few breaths, turned into a puddle of blood. You're the fan-flying bandit. One of the pirates at the peak seventh sky managed to last for 4 to 5 breaths before his body rotted, leaving behind a puddle of blood. Fan-flying bandit. Apparently, he's the disciple of the Water Moon Pirate. One of the experts at the seventh sky of the transverse water stronghold revealed a shocked expression. So, the Water Moon Pirate had taken in a few disciples when he was alive. The fan-flying bandit was his most outstanding disciple. However, because the Water Moon Pirate died too quickly, he didn't have the time to give his mystic flower treasured Bible to his disciple. Therefore, although the fan-flying bandit's cultivation had reached the true spirit realm, he was very cautious and low-key and was famous for his schemes. First, senior brother, you're just going to let them go in and fight for Master's treasure? The woman in the flowery dress was extraordinarily beautiful. Her voice was soft and tender, and her posture was overflowing with charm. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Master is an expert in mechanisms and formations, so he must have made some arrangements. Let them be the vanguard. The brocade-robed youth landed on the pirate boat. The third person, the short elder, sighed helplessly. With the 2 at the true spirit realm and the severed blood pirates leading the way, they should be able to clear out the mechanisms in the secret cave. There shouldn't be any need for me. The short elder smiled bitterly, as if he wasn't willing. At the bottom of the river, the 2 parties breathed heavily. Those at the 6th and 7th sky of the ascended realm obviously didn't need to worry about breathing and surviving in the water. Seeing the number of casualties, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle's expressions were slightly ugly. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't want to warn them, but it was too late. Furthermore, who could resist the temptation of the Water Moon treasury and give it up? Furthermore, the way back was several times more dangerous than the way in. Only those at the true spirit realm had the confidence to come out alive. Master Bai, we've found the location of the treasure. Boss! The Water Moon treasury is over there. The 2 half-step true spirit realm cultivators excitedly came over. Hearing this, everyone was overjoyed. With the 2 of them leading the way, they swam at the bottom of the river for some distance. Soon, a dark cave appeared in the mountain wall ahead. There were many vine-like plants around the cave that couldn't be seen unless they were close. Only from several yards away could they see the faint light coming from the cave. We're here. The 2 parties were extremely excited. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He had already found the entrance to the cave when he was on the shore. Of course, the owner of the Water Moon treasury was skilled in mechanisms and arrays. The secret cave he left behind wasn't so easy to open. Entrance to the cave. The two parties entered side by side. The ones leading them were at the true spirit realm and they were wary of each other. Following closely behind the severed blood-bald eagle was the green-robed old Taoist. This person was an expert in mechanisms. Master Bai had an amicable expression as he told Bai Xiaoyu to come and lead the way. The entrance to the cave wasn't big and after entering, it became more spacious. At the beginning, there was still some water at the entrance, but after entering, the water started to recede and the place was dry without a drop of water. Up until a certain point in time, a row of mysterious azure stairs appeared in front of them. The steps of the two at the true spirit realm paused and they seemed to be extremely careful. The azure-robed Taoist and Bai Xiaoyu started to look around the stairs and were extremely cautious. Zhao Feng had a smile that wasn't a smile as he walked to the side of the stairs and saw a stone tablet in front of him. There were 3 words carved on the stone tablet: Water Moon Cave. Everyone was slightly surprised. This was obviously the place where the Water Moon pirate had died, but it had such an elegant name. There aren't any traps here. The azure-robed Taoist faintly scanned the stone tablet and led the way. The pirates carefully and slowly walked up the stairs, but they were still slightly uneasy. Bai Xiaoyu inspected the stone tablet and after confirming that there was nothing wrong, she looked at the stone tablet with surprise. Zhao Feng's hand was placed on the stone tablet for a while before slowly letting go. Crack! A crack suddenly appeared on the stone tablet. The azure-robed Taoist and the severed blood-bald eagle's footsteps both paused. Rumble! The area around the stairs suddenly shook violently, and the entire secret cave rumbled as if it were about to collapse. Everyone couldn't stand still and looked towards Zhao Feng with enmity. Brat! What did you do? The azure-robed Taoist was enraged. It was obvious that Zhao Feng's hand had triggered some sort of mechanism. Zhao Feng smiled embarrassedly and took back his hand. Chapter 285. Zhao Feng did not feel much pressure facing the angry gazes of the group. He only found it strange that the hardness of this stone tablet was not something that he could break. What was so mysterious about the palm imprint on the cracks of the stone tablet? Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye confirmed that the palm imprint had already existed before he reached out his hand. If one didn't walk closer and look carefully, it would be hard to notice. Afterwards, the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Xiaoyu carefully examined the stone tablet and placed their palms on the cracks. They both had a strange feeling, but there wasn't any trembling like before. This steel should be a key switch of the treasure trove. It might trigger unpredictable dangers. After the azure-robed Taoist finished speaking, his cold gaze contained a warning as he glared at Zhao Feng. This Taoist was proficient in unorthodox methods and his methods were extraordinary. Even the pirates were wary of him. After this small interlude, it was still the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Xiaoyu who led the way for their respective groups. Bai Xiaoyu was indeed a genius in the path of mechanisms and formations. She had seen through many exquisite mechanisms along the way. However, she was inexperienced and couldn't make a decision at times. At this time, she wasn't asking the elders of the transverse water stronghold, but Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng had a certain level of understanding towards arrays and adding on the god spiritual eye, he was able to discuss with Bai Xiaoyu. The elders of the transverse water stronghold that understood arrays were slightly dissatisfied, but they didn't dare to show it. After all, Zhao Feng had played a big role in solving the whirlpool earlier. When they reached a certain slope, the azure-robed Taoist's footsteps stopped as his eyes flashed and he secretly sent a message to the pirates. Bai Xiaoyu also sent a message to the transverse water stronghold, everyone be careful, there are some traps ahead. Some of the mechanisms and formations in the secret cave could be avoided, but some were hard to solve and could only be forced through. Everyone had a face of caution as they slowly walked forward. The moment they reached the slope, the walls on both sides started to crack as cold metal cylinders appeared. The surface of the metal cylinders had countless tiny holes that were rotating at high speed, shooting out silver needles that were as thin as a cow's hair. Show. Those silver needles had a shocking explosive power. They were enough to pierce through the true power layer of a normal transcending mortality stage cultivator. Furthermore, they were emitting a strange green light. They were actually poisonous needles. Let's go. On the side of the pirates, they all revolved their true power to protect their bodies and tried their best to dodge and charge forward. The people of the Transverse Waters stronghold cried out in alarm as they formed a defensive formation and crossed the dangerous slope. Ding ding ding. Everyone used all kinds of methods to deal with the poisonous needles that were shot from both sides. His cultivation had reached half-step true spirit realm and he could use his true force to create a gust of wind to deflect the poison needles. Those with nimble movement techniques could easily avoid most of the poison needles and block the poison needles with little effort. Pong! Zhao Feng's body was surrounded by arcs of cyan electric currents. As they revolved, they were incomparably accurate. The poisonous needles that got close to him fell to the ground, leaving behind pieces of charred black broken needles. Although the poison needles were extremely concentrated, they were only limited to a 10-yard area and most of the people successfully passed through. Looking back, there were a few corpses that were riddled with holes at the top of the hill. Purplish-black liquid flowed out of the corpses. It was a chilling sight. Just as they passed through the slope, black and white tiles appeared in front of them. The mechanisms here were even more profound and the azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu wouldn't be able to solve them in a short amount of time. Crack! The tiles under the feet of an expert from the Transverse Waters stronghold suddenly collapsed. Not good. The expert from the Transverse Waters stronghold had just circulated his true force and was about to fly into the air when a metallic claw reached out from the pitch-black tiles and pulled him down. Arg! Shrill screams came from the collapsed pit, and as the black and white floor closed, the sound stopped abruptly. The tiles in this area would occasionally collapse and the metallic claw would pull the outsiders into an endless nightmare. The metallic claw was extremely magical and would automatically capture those that were close to it. There was a pirate that thought he was smart and flew into the air without touching the ground. However, one of his legs was ripped off by the metallic claw. The space in the secret cave was limited and one couldn't fly very high. Therefore, there was no height restriction for the metallic claw. The journey through the black and white tiles was extremely dangerous. The speed and power of the metallic claw was extremely powerful and even an expert at half-step true spirit realm from the Transverse Waters stronghold was almost pulled away. Luckily, Master Bai was there to help. Zhao Feng also walked very carefully. His god's spiritual eye could barely see through the black and white tiles and see the complicated mechanisms. The design of the mechanisms obviously took into consideration the spiritual sense of those at the true spirit realm and thus had a strong ability to block other senses. Watch out! Zhao Feng suddenly reached out and grabbed Bai Qiaoyu's hand and pulled her to the side. Crack! The black and white tiles in front of Bai Qiaoyu suddenly collapsed and the metallic claw leapt towards Zhao Feng after missing. Ding! Zhao Feng's figure flashed and dodged the metallic claw by half an inch, causing sparks to fly. He smiled faintly and stomped the metallic claw into the ground. However, the metallic claw was extremely powerful and forcefully retracted back into the black hole. Thank you. The mechanism just then was very well hidden and even I wasn't sure. Bai Qiaoyu stuck out her tongue. Master Bai on the side nodded his head. Zhao Feng's usefulness couldn't be underestimated. Otherwise, with Bai Qiaoyu's low cultivation and lack of experience, how would she be able to fight against the azure-robed Taoist? The azure-robed Taoist's eyes swept coldly across Zhao Feng's face. This blue-haired brat, coldness flashed through the severed blood-bald eagle's eyes. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, the Transverse Waters stronghold would have suffered more casualties than the pirates. However, because of this youth's existence, the two sides had once again reached a draw. Within the secret cave, every step of the way was extremely difficult. One or two corpses would be left behind every section of the way. Although Zhao Feng didn't know much about mechanisms, he had the god's spiritual eye, so he didn't encounter any danger. Half an hour later, those below the seventh sky of the ascended heavens from both sides had all died. Only Bai Qiaoyu, who was heavily protected, was safe. At this time, a long corridor with carved jade beams appeared in front of him. It had an ancient charm and didn't have the slightest trace of mechanism design. This secret cave is the design of the tomb. After walking through here, we'll probably be able to enter the core of the tomb. The azure-robed Taoist smiled. Along the way, he had done a lot for the pirates by solving all sorts of mechanisms. Master Bai smiled and praised Bai Qiaoyu, as well as expressing his gratitude towards Zhao Feng. From the design of the ancient corridor, there didn't seem to be any mechanisms or arrays. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye also scanned around and didn't find any traps. Maybe we're out of danger. The head of the Bai family revealed a joyful expression. The azure-robed Taoist and Bai Qiaoyu used their hands to knock on the wooden structure of the corridor. In the long corridor that was filled with an ancient charm, the special wood also emitted an intoxicating fragrance that lingered in one's mind endlessly. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed, feeling that something was wrong. This secret cave had close to 100 years of history, so how could it still have such a refreshing fragrance? Wait! The azure-robed Taoist's expression suddenly changed. There's some kind of soft fragrance in this corridor. We shouldn't have knocked on these structures. Bai Qiaoyu's petite body went soft, her face blushed red and she couldn't stand properly. The two sides felt their blood swell up and they couldn't control their bodies. Zhao Feng only felt a primal flame burning in his body. Bai Qiaoyu's beautiful face in front of him evoked endless desires in his body. Not good. This is probably the drunken immortal fragrance that the water moon pirate used to dominate the world. This fragrance makes one's body go soft and uncontrollable. It can even make one hallucinate and has double the effect on females. Master Bai's expression changed dramatically. Drunken immortal fragrance. Everyone felt their brains buzzing. The fire of lust in the men's bodies was like a volcano erupting, unable to be contained. Furthermore, all kinds of hallucinations appeared in their minds, further increasing the flames of lust. On the side of the pirates, there was a female pirate whose eyes were blurry and full of lust. She laid on the ground and started to take off her clothes. Roar! Roar! Several pirates roared and pounced on the female pirate. Soon, they stripped off her clothes, revealing her snow-white skin. Their panting sounds rose and fell one after another. There were also some pirates who stared greedily at Bai Qiaoyu, who was next to Zhao Feng. Bai Qiaoyu's face was red as blood dripped from her face. Her eyes were filled with lust as her body trembled slightly and she leapt onto Zhao Feng's arms. AI! Stop! At the critical moment, the auras of the two experts at the true spirit realm filled the area. However, the power of the drunken immortal fragrance had entered their bodies and mental energy. Most of them only froze for a moment, but were unable to control their lust. Two middle-aged men and one elder from the transverse water stronghold roared as they leapt towards Bai Qiaoyu. Shwa! Bai Qiaoyu's clothes were torn apart, revealing a patch of warm, red skin. A pair of pink rabbits jumped out, like a light that was exposed in the darkness, attracting even more saliva. The power of the drunken immortal fragrance affected both males and females, making them feel weak and powerless. Zhao Feng only felt that Bai Qiaoyu's body that had yet to fully develop was emitting an alluring fragrance. Her soft lips directly kissed his neck. Roar! Roar! 5 or 6 people from the pirates and the transverse water stronghold charged towards Bai Qiaoyu in Zhao Feng's arms. The current situation. Those at half-step true spirit realm could barely control their blood and mental energy and were on the verge of exploding. The power of the drunken immortal fragrance was extremely effective even for those at the true spirit realm. If the severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were females, the effect would be doubled and even they would fall to the ground, unable to resist. All they could do was use their auras of true spirit realm and stop the people in front of them. Qiaoyu! The head of the Bai family roared, but he could barely protect himself. If he didn't control his mental energy and blood, he would also become one of the beasts. Master Bai could only stop the two experts from the transverse water stronghold. The two of them watched as the greedy wolves pounced towards Bai Qiaoyu, the white sheep, and subconsciously closed their eyes. At the same time, the female pirate was drowned in the breath and saliva of 7 or 8 people. Her snow-white body was almost torn to shreds by the pack of wolves. It looked like Bai Qiaoyu was about to enter an endless nightmare. Roar! Roar! 5 to 6 greedy and thirsty figures pounced in front of her, just inches away from her. Zhao Feng sighed and took off his silver eye patch. His faint blue eye scanned across the people that were charging at him. In an instant, a formless chill permeated the air. The greedy figures froze on the spot as the flames of lust in their eyes froze, as if their hearts had been frozen. Chapter 286. The endless nightmare didn't descend upon Bai Qiaoyu. The head of the Bai family opened his eyes and let out a breath. At this point in time, almost half of Bai Qiaoyu's pure body was exposed to the air and a small part of her clothes had been torn. The thirsty figures that had been affected by the drunken god perfume shuddered and froze on the ground, not moving an inch. A piercingly cold intent seeped into their minds and extinguished the endless evil desires in them. After finishing all of this, Zhao Feng's cold blue eyes finally retracted his gaze. He then found that Bai Qiaoyu in his embrace was breathing out and had even taken off her clothes and started to kiss him uncontrollably. A primal flame was ignited in Zhao Feng's body that almost reached the mental energy dimension. This drunken god perfume is so terrifying that it can even enter the mental energy dimension. It has double the effect on females. Even females at the true spirit realm would find it hard to resist and could only surrender. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye opened, and no matter how hot his body was, his heart was calm. He had always been almost immune to the effects of mental attacks. His state of mind was like water. His light blue left eye glanced at Bai Qiaoyu, who was in his bosom. Bai Qiaoyu's body went cold and softened on Zhao Feng's body. When she regained consciousness, her face turned red and she wanted to find a hole in the ground to hide in. Zhao Feng was expressionless as he helped Bai Qiaoyu put on her clothes and supported her. Could it be that his heart is made of ice? Bai Qiaoyu was embarrassed and felt a sense of inferiority. Could it be that she didn't have any charm? Although she had been affected by the drunken god perfume, she had still thrown herself into his embrace and the other had no reaction at all. This was especially so when Zhao Feng's cold left eye looked at her as if he was looking at a pile of bones. Meow meow. The little thieving cat had appeared out of nowhere and was sucking in the drunken god perfume in the air. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. This drunken god perfume was a powerful aphrodisiac that could even affect those at the true spirit realm. From the looks of it, normal animals wouldn't be able to escape. Just as he was about to stop it, he found that the little thieving cat was stumbling drunkenly as if it was enjoying itself. This scene caused Master Bai Qiaoyu, and the azure-robed Taoist to reveal weird expressions. As time passed, the drunken immortal fragrance in the hallway became fainter and fainter. He didn't know if it was dissipating on its own or if the little thieving cat was sucking it away. Both sides didn't suffer any losses, but some people were tired and felt like collapsing. The Severed Blood Pirates and the Transverse Water Strongholds people sat down and waited for the time it took for half an incense stick to burn before moving forward. According to the green-robed old Taoist priest's estimation, he would arrive at the center of the secret cave after passing through the ancient corridor. However, this ancient corridor was longer than he had imagined, and some parts of the corridor contained poisonous smells that could instantly kill cultivators at the 6th or 7th sky of the Ascended Realm. Everyone was very careful, not daring to use too much force, for fear of triggering the various invisible and fatal auras in the corridor. After walking for about 1,000 feet, they reached the end of the corridor. What entered their eyes was a gray river. No, it was a bug river formed by countless gray insects. These insects were around the size of a thumb and some even had thin wings on their backs. There were so many of them that it seemed like they could swallow the world. Everyone was shocked, and they sucked in a breath of cold air. The countless gray insects formed a bug river that blocked their footsteps. Zhao Feng looked over and saw that the insect river was around 20 to 30 yards wide and it was located in a large tomb. At the center of the tomb was a large purple bronze coffin that was comparable to a palace. Both sides were dazed. This was the first time in their lives that they had seen such a large coffin. Ha ha ha, we're finally here. This must be the burial place of the Water Moon Pirate. It's hard to imagine how many items the Water Moon Pirate had with him before he died. The pirates laughed savagely as they trembled with excitement, not hiding the greed on their faces. The elites from the Transverse Water Stronghold were also excited and their eyes lit up. The purple bronze coffin that was comparable to a palace was located in the center of the Insect River, 20 to 30 yards away from the group. Brothers, let's kill them. The Severed Blood Pirates couldn't hold themselves back. Wait. Everyone be careful, these insects should be low-leveled dead corpse insects that are extremely sensitive to the blood of living beings. Thousands upon thousands of dead corpse worms can instantly devour a person's flesh and blood. The azure-robed Daoist seemed to be experienced and he quickly warned. There were millions of dead corpse insects in the river and each of them had the aura of a cultivator at the first sky of the Ascended Realm. Daoist, you're a grave robber master, do you have any way to deal with these dead corpse insects? The Severed Blood Bald Eagle asked. Grave robber master. Hearing this title, everyone couldn't help but roll their eyes. No wonder this azure-robed Daoist seemed so experienced and didn't make any mistakes. As long as there's blood of living beings, the dead corpse insects will rush over. There's probably no way to counter this many dead corpse insects. I have a few packets of medicinal powder with me. If I sprinkle them on my body, I can at most ensure that the chances of being attacked will be lower. The azure-robed Daoist said and took out a few gray bags. Seeing this, the expressions of those from the Transverse Water Stronghold changed. The Severed Blood Pirates would have a huge advantage if they had this kind of medicine packet. Luckily, the gray bags in the azure-robed Daoist's hands were only enough for 5 or 6 people. The azure-robed Daoist laughed coldly in his heart. Only those at the True Spirit Realm have a 100% chance of passing through the Sea of Insects and those at the Half-Step True Spirit Realm only have a 40 to 50% chance. Normal cultivators at the 7th sky have a 90% chance of dying. His eyes subconsciously scanned across Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng sighed in his heart. It looked like the balance between the Transverse Water Stronghold and the Severed Blood Pirates was about to be broken. I have a kind of thunderbolt fireball here. It can produce a very strong explosive power that can raise everything within a radius of several zhang to the ground. Its fire attribute power should be able to restrain and deter dead corpse worms to a certain extent. Master Bai took out 7 or 8 dark red beads from his interspatial ring. Each one was the size of a baby's fist. He gave these dark red beads to everyone. Although the Thunderbolt Fireball's effect wasn't as long as the azure-robed Daoist's powder, it was very effective at critical moments. Soon, a Thunderbolt Fireball appeared in the hands of some of the elites from the Transverse Water Stronghold. Due to the limited number, many people didn't get a Thunderbolt Fireball. Xiao Feng obviously didn't get one either. Master Bai, my cultivation is too low and it's useless even if I go. Why don't I give this Thunderbolt Fireball to Brother Xiao Feng? Bai Qiaoyu suggested. Master Bai had an amicable expression as he smiled. Xiao Feng's strength isn't bad and he has a bloodline power. I believe he'll be able to cross safely. After entering the purple copper coffin, we still need you. Xiao Feng was, after all, an outsider and Master Bai's trust in him was limited. Now that he had reached this step, his value had reached its limit. Therefore, Master Bai didn't care about Xiao Feng's life or death. Of course, if he could enter the purple copper coffin, it would be the best. Xiao Feng stood where he was and his faint blue hair was extremely eye-catching in the lifeless tomb. Xiao Feng didn't care if he didn't get the Thunderbolt Fireball. Xiao Feng was curious as to why Master Bai wanted to bring Bai Qiaoyu in from the start. And now, he was personally protecting Bai Qiaoyu and bringing her across the river. Tsang. So, the Severed Blood Pirates and the Transverse Water Stronghold flew through the air towards the purple copper coffin in the center of the river. Those at the True Spirit Realm could cross dozens of yards in just a couple breaths' time. The severed blood pirates and Master Bai arrived at the purple copper coffin. Master Bai protected by Xiaoyu as she crossed. Next were those at the half-step true spirit realm and the peak seventh sky. It was extremely dangerous for these experts to cross the river. The dead corpse insects instantly covered their bodies and started to gnaw away at their protective true force. Arg! Screams came from the river. The flesh and blood of the experts at the seventh sky were instantly devoured by the dead corpse insects and their bones were covered by countless insects. A blood-curdling scream could be heard with every breath. Finally, only 4 experts at the half-step true spirit realm managed to reach the purple copper coffin. As for the other experts at the seventh sky, only a third of them managed to make it. There were less than 6 or 7 of them and they were all at the peak seventh sky. Zhao Feng purposely slowed down and was the last to arrive with these peak seventh sky experts. Zhao Feng, you indeed didn't disappoint me. Master Bai's smile was warm, but he was secretly surprised. The other peak seventh sky experts were all in a ruffled state after reaching the purple copper coffin. 1 or 2 of them even lost an arm or a leg. On the other hand, Zhao Feng wasn't injured at all. The azure-robed Taoist was also surprised when he glanced at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was just a brat at the seventh sky. Without his powder or Master Bai's thunderbolt fireball, he thought that he would die for sure, but he was able to reach here so easily. At this moment, comparing the two sides, the severed blood pirates had the advantage. It was obvious that the azure-robed Taoist's powder was more effective. On Master Bai's side, there was still Bai Qiaoyu who was at the fifth sky. After reaching the purple copper coffin, the dead corpse insects seemed to be wary and only came close before returning to the river. Next, the two sides were discussing how to enter the palace like purple copper coffin. The purple copper coffin looked like an enormous coffin, but it was actually a mausoleum. This mausoleum had 4 bronze doors on each side. It was impossible to forcefully enter the palace like purple copper coffin. Even the attacks of those at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to damage it in the slightest. Moreover, a strong attack could lead to unpredictable consequences. There's a faint palm print in the center of each door. One of the pirates said. This palm print seemed to have been left by someone not long ago. Of the 4 doors, only 3 had this kind of palm print. Furthermore, the size and shape were different. The first palm print was the size of a grown man. The second palm print was delicate, as if it had been left by the hands of a young girl. The third palm print was skinny and twisted, probably the work of an elder. Seeing these palm prints, Zhao Feng's thoughts spun as he thought back to when he touched the stone tablet before entering the secret cave. The first person to touch it was him. The second was Bai Qiaoyu. The third was the azure-robed Taoist. I understand. Almost at the same time, the azure-robed Taoist and the severed blood pirates exclaimed. The shallow handprint between the cracks on the stone tablet at the entrance was actually connected to the door on this side. The 3 palm prints represented the 3 keys to the purple copper coffin. Master Bai understood and immediately protected Bai Qiaoyu in front of him. At the same time, he looked at Zhao Feng with bright eyes. Chapter 287. At this moment, the truth was revealed. 3 of the 4 doors of the purple copper coffin had faint palm prints on them. What was even more amazing was that these 3 palm prints perfectly matched the hands of Zhao Feng, Bai Qiaoyu and the azure-robed Taoist. When they had just entered, only Zhao Feng, Bai Qiaoyu and the azure-robed Taoist had used their hands to touch the cracks on the stone tablet. The mechanisms of this water moon secret cave are indeed exquisite. Zhao Feng couldn't help but exclaim. He was the first person to discover the secret, and his reaction was also the fastest. Shwa! Zhao Feng flashed past a figure of lightning and arrived at the door that corresponded to his palm print. His actions instantly attracted the attention of both sides. Stop him! Cut off his hand! The eyes of the severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist flashed as they leapt towards Zhao Feng. The door that Zhao Feng was at was right in the middle of the two sides. I can't let this key fall into the hands of the severed blood pirates. Master Bai's heart shook as he released his chi of true spirit and leapt towards Zhao Feng. Even if he couldn't get the key that Zhao Feng represented, he couldn't let the pirates get it. Paw! Zhao Feng was courageous but meticulous and didn't show any fear in the face of danger. The instant his body stopped, his palm pressed onto the faint imprint on the bronze door. Boom! The bronze door opened and a dark azure light enveloped Zhao Feng like water. A strong pulling force came from within the dark azure light and pulled Zhao Feng into the purple copper coffin. In the next instant, the severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai arrived one after the other and clashed on the spot. The berserk chi of true spirit swept across the dark azure light and disappeared. Boom! The bronze door closed and the dark azure light on the surface suddenly dimmed. The two experts at the true spirit realm both leapt into the air. Both the severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai had ugly expressions. I have to get in before the gate opens and the dark green light disappears. The green-robed old Taoist said in a low voice. Just now, Zhao Feng's body came into contact with the dark green ripples and was pulled into it. However, the dark green ripples only appeared for a short period of time, not even a breath of time. In such a short period of time, the number of people who could actually enter was extremely small. This purple copper coffin has a total of 4 doors, but only 3 of them have palm prints. In other words, if we send another person back. The severed blood bald eagle and the green-robed Taoist priest exchanged glances. Master Bai also noticed that one of the 4 doors didn't have a palm print on it. If he sent another person back to touch the cracks on the steel, he should be able to obtain another key. However, the path back was filled with traps and dangers. Even those at the true spirit realm had to be careful. However, at this moment, buzz! The 4th bronze door shone brightly, and with a rumbling sound, a shallow palm print appeared on it. It was slender and powerful. Not good. I'm afraid there's a third party who barged into the Water Moon's secret cave. The expressions of the severed blood pirates and transverse water stronghold changed. As for the Water Moon treasury, it had always been the severed blood pirates and the transverse water stronghold that would open it together. But now, the situation had changed. Apart from these two, there was a third party who had entered the Water Moon treasury. Unknowingly, this created more uncontrollable factors. Let's open the treasury before the third party arrives. Master Bai's expression was solemn as he ordered Bai Qiaoyu to go forward. Bai Qiaoyu placed her little hand on the palm print, and the bronze gate rumbled as a dark green light rippled. Bai Qiaoyu was the first to be pulled in. Immediately after, Master Bai, the head of the Bai family, and another expert at half-step true spirit realm were pulled in. On the transverse water stronghold side, a total of 4 people had entered. The severed blood pirates were equally matched, with 1 at the true spirit realm, 2 at half-step true spirit realm, and 1 at the peak 7th sky. At the same time, at the entrance of the Water Moon cave, 3 figures stopped at the entrance of the greenish-black stairs. They were the brocade-robed youth, the fan-flying bandit, the beauty in the flower dress, and the short elder. The brocade-robed youth placed his hand on the palm print for 2 or 3 breaths and a weird feeling appeared. Looks like there's definitely an expert in the secret cave. This switch was designed to be extremely well hidden and even spiritual sense would find it hard to find. It could only be discovered by the naked eye at close range. Furthermore, the person's hand has to be placed on the palm print for at least 3 breaths in order to obtain a key. The short elder sighed softly. If the azure-robed Taoist or Zhao Feng were here, they would be extremely surprised. This short elder had seen through the mysteries of the stone tablet with just a few words. Although Zhao Feng had noticed the strangeness of the palm print and touched it, luck had played a part in it and he couldn't understand it at the start. However, the short elder in front of him had seen through it with just 1 glance. Next, the short elder led the way as if he was taking a stroll. Every step was like stepping on a pulse and all the mechanisms and arrays gave him the green light. Looking at the corpses along the way, the brocade-robed young man couldn't help but sigh, "You are indeed a mechanism master. Many of the mechanisms that my master, the Water Moon Pirate, comprehended back then were secretly learned from your line." The Water Moon Pirate is extremely talented, but it's a pity that his mind is on the evil path, and he only has 20 to 30% of my sect's true inheritance. Even so, he is still very good. The short elder couldn't help but sigh. The three of them passed through the secret cave without any obstructions. Only when they reached the ancient corridor did the short elder frown. This corridor doesn't seem to have any mechanisms, but with such a long distance, the designer shouldn't have done something useless. There seems to be the aura of the drunken immortal fragrance and the 8-direction incense poison that Master left behind. The brocade-robed youth sniffed and couldn't help but smile. The combination of these three could be said to be very strong. The short elder was a mechanism grandmaster, and his attainments might even surpass the Water Moon Pirate. The brocade-robed youth and the flower-dressed beauty were the disciples of the Water Moon Pirate when he was alive. Inside the purple copper coffin, Zhao Feng appeared in a room made of purple copper. There was a table and a chair in front of him. On the table, there was a scroll. Zhao Feng opened it and saw that it was a topographical map. At first glance, it looked like a coffin. The entire map was divided into 3 layers, representing the structure of the purple copper coffin. Zhao Feng's current position was the first room on the east side. On the map, it was the size of a small grid. Interesting. Then why did the designer leave this on purpose? Zhao Feng opened his left eye and instantly absorbed the map into his mind. According to the map, there was a treasure room on every floor. The first and second layers were the same and were in the middle of each layer. And in the center of the third layer, there was a hanging coffin, floating at the top of the third layer. According to the layout, this should be where the Water Moon Pirate was buried. From the first layer to the third layer, reaching the hanging coffin in the center, I should be able to obtain the essence of the Water Moon Pirate's treasure. Zhao Feng roughly understood in his heart. Just as he put down the scroll, the door to the second room opened and in front of him was a new room. The room that Zhao Feng was in was a starting point. However, he was not in a hurry to enter the next room. Zhao Feng opened his God's spiritual eye and scanned every detail in the room. His God's spiritual eye could see through materials and was even stronger than ordinary spiritual sense. Any clues could not escape Zhao Feng's eyes. At a certain moment, Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye fixed on the stool. In this room, there was only a table and a stool. Normally, when people came in, the first thing they would see would be the scroll on the table. Who would pay attention to the stool? Zhao Feng thought about it and sat on the stool. Creak, creak. The stool sank 2 inches and slid back 3 feet. Then, where the stool was, the floor popped open, revealing a rectangular dark pit. In the dark pit, there was a tea table, including a teapot and cups. Zhao Feng had a weird expression on his face. This design was way too carefree. He reached out and poured 2 cups of tea. The tea contained a trace of coldness. Zhao Feng summoned the little thieving cat. This cat's poison resistance was not normal. Back in the 100 Graves Forbidden Ground, it even dared to eat poisonous insects. In the hallway, it ate the drunken immortal fragrance. It should be good to let the little thieving cat test the poison. Meow meow. The little thieving cat drank a cup and its eyes lit up, nodding its head towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng couldn't help but drink a cup and instantly felt a coldness seep into his organs and into his bones. At this moment, he shivered. However, after drinking this cold tea, he felt his body become stronger, especially his organs. They were stronger and more powerful. Interesting. After drinking the tea, Zhao Feng brought the little thieving cat into the second room. On the opposite side of the second room, there was also a door, but it was closed. Zhao Feng stood in the room for a while, but the door didn't open. Looks like I need to go room by room. Zhao Feng wasn't in a rush. He once again opened his God's spiritual eye and scanned the room. Although Zhao Feng had studied arrays, he was only an amateur when it came to the more detailed mechanisms. The biggest card he could rely on was the god's spiritual eye. The god's spiritual eye could see through and control all details, even reaching the microscopic level and analyzing the essence of things. Soon, Zhao Feng found 5 or 6 places that were suspicious of mechanisms. Meow meow. Suddenly, the little thieving cat jumped onto a wall lamp, which was one of the mechanisms. When the wall lamp lit up and a book came down from the ceiling, Zhao Feng opened it and saw that the book talked about mechanisms and arrays. With a sweep of the god's spiritual eye, the entire book's contents were absorbed. Interesting, what is the Water Moon Pirate's goal for such a meticulous design? Zhao Feng smiled faintly. At the same time, in the north side, in the second room, boom! A ball of fire exploded in the room, creating a stench. Cough! Cough! The leader, Master Bai, had his face blackened and couldn't be wiped off no matter what. The other people were also coughing. Master Bai, you've accidentally stepped on the mechanism. Bai Qiaoyu weakly pointed at the door handle. In the south side, in the second room. Zhezhe, so there are good and bad mechanisms in each room. One relies on strength and eyesight, and the other relies on luck. The azure-robed Taoist said smugly. Under his unraveling, the third room was quickly opened. He leisurely and confidently led the way. Then, just as he stepped into the third room, with 2 shio sounds, 2 metal chains shot out from the hole in the wall and wrapped around his feet. Ah! The azure-robed Taoist screamed as he was hung from the ceiling. Chapter 288. First floor of the purple copper coffin. Zhao Feng was interested, but he wasn't in a rush as he solved the mechanism step by step. There were mechanisms in every room, some good and some bad. For some of the mechanisms that were too detailed, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could only roughly judge them. After passing through the fourth room, Zhao Feng's understanding of mechanisms had reached the beginner level and he had almost understood the mechanism book from the second room. This wasn't only because his learning ability was strong, but also because of his foundation in arrays. According to the map, I only need to pass through a total of 9 rooms to reach the center of the first floor. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. After the fourth room, the difficulty increased. Zhao Feng used the god's spiritual eye and some basic knowledge of mechanisms to search each room. His goal was to get the best out of every room. This way, his actual speed of conquering the rooms would be affected. In the fifth room, there were at least 6 mechanisms. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye had eliminated 4 of them. There were 2 mechanisms left. One of them was in the corner, and the other was in the middle of the room on the floor. It was hollow underneath. Zhao Feng told the little thieving cat to test it out. The little thieving cat's agility was unparalleled and it had a strong sense of danger. Meow meow. The little thieving cat waved its paws as its eyes spun and locked onto the corner. Paw! It waved its paw in the air and a faint silver claw slammed into the corner. Fush black smoke came out of the corner and then countless purple arcs of lightning covered the entire room. The purple arcs of lightning locked the entire room like an invisible prison. The power of this lightning can probably instantly turn normal 7th sky cultivators into ashes. Zhao Feng thought. If it was a normal 7th sky cultivator, they would have a 90% chance of dying. The chance of a half-step true spirit realm cultivator breaking out was less than 30%. However, Zhao Feng didn't panic. After eliminating this mechanism, the mechanism in the middle of the room would definitely be beneficial. The little thieving cat shrugged its head. Sometimes, its judgment wasn't 100%. Something like luck was too mysterious. This time, Zhao Feng personally walked to the center of the room and lightly knocked on the floor a few times. In next to no time, the floor automatically slit open to reveal a piece of translucent and sparkling silver jade that was suffused with a layer of piercingly cold light. Mysterious silver crystal. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. The value of this material was comparable to a high-grade mortal weapon. Zhao Feng's judgment was correct. There was a mechanism in every room that could be used to obtain benefits. This kind of mechanism, once opened, could lead to the next room. If it was a negative mechanism, at least half of it had to be destroyed before he could enter the next room. As expected, the door to the sixth room opened. The purple electric current in Zhao Feng's room didn't disappear. He dragged a green electric arc through the purple electric current. The powerful electric currents fused into the green electric arcs on his body. Zhao Feng's body and mind trembled as a numbing sensation spread throughout his body. He hurriedly guided this power into his dantian. After successfully absorbing the electrical energy, Zhao Feng's true power strength faintly increased. Like this, Zhao Feng opened room after room. Because he had the god's spiritual eye, he could eliminate many negative mechanisms, and the little thieving cat's judgment increased his chances of success. As a result, Zhao Feng was able to avoid the vast majority of the dangers along the way. When he reached the eighth room, Zhao Feng's rewards were plentiful. These rewards included materials, books, pills, treasures, etc. There was a pill called the 100 Dissolving Pill that could cure most poisons in the world. It seemed to be the Water Moon Pirate's unique antidote. This Water Moon Pirate is proficient in astronomy, geography, medicine, arrays and mechanisms. No wonder he could dominate the Canopy Great Country in that era. Zhao Feng couldn't help but admire the Water Moon Pirate's talent. There were 10 mechanisms in the eighth room. It wasn't easy for Zhao Feng to obtain a strange item, a strange gray stone. The Water Moon Pirate had collected too many treasures in his life, and Zhao Feng couldn't identify any of them. Meow meow. The little thieving cat snatched the gray stone and took it for itself. It even used its teeth to gnaw on it, but it didn't budge at all, showing how strong it was. Zhao Feng didn't ask anything and entered the ninth room, which was the last room. There were at least 11 mechanisms in this room. Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye and only eliminated 6 of them. He then studied mechanisms and eliminated 2 more. This meant that there were still 3 mechanisms that needed to be tested. This was because Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could quickly find the positions of the mechanisms. The last room trapped Zhao Feng for a long time. He wasn't willing to give up and had to get the benefits of this room. While Zhao Feng was solving the mechanisms, the other 2 rooms were also in order. On the Severed Blood Pirate's side, the azure-robed Daoist specialized in tomb raiding and was also proficient in mechanisms and arrays. The important thing was that they had the numbers and a true spirit realm expert. Although there were many dangers, they were all solved. On the Transverse Water Stronghold side, Bai Qiaoyu was a genius in mechanisms and had once studied under a mechanisms grandmaster. She had learned a lot on the way here and had become more experienced in solving mechanisms. Furthermore, Master Bai, an expert at the true spirit realm, had protected her the entire time. In terms of efficiency, Zhao Feng should be the fastest and might even be faster than the pirates. However, he strived for perfection and didn't give up on any benefits. Furthermore, he wasn't proficient in mechanisms and arrays. There was only one person and the little thieving cat, which was equivalent to 2 people. Their speed was on par with the other 2. While the 3 parties were racking their brains trying to decipher the mechanism, 3 figures were calmly passing through the Worm River. The leading youth in brocade waved the fan in his hand and a pink aura swept across a radius of 10 yards, instantly turning the insects nearby into gray liquid. In terms of strength, the youth in brocade was much stronger than normal true human rank experts. The 3 figures landed in front of the purple copper coffin. North, east, south. All 3 doors have been opened. The short elder only needed to walk half a circle to confirm that it was the west door, which was in the direction of Zhao Feng. The palm print on the west door was the same as the youth in brocades. Are we too late? The flower-dressed girl asked anxiously. We should be able to catch up. But according to the layout, the east, west, south and north has the best aura. In certain mechanisms, the owner was the representative of the winner. If I'm not wrong, the first person to press the palm print on the stone tablet should be the person from the east. The short elder's eyes flashed. His analysis was correct. The east door was the one that Zhao Feng had entered. I don't care if it's the east or west. We'll catch all of them today. The youth in brocade said confidently with a hint of arrogance. The short elder smiled bitterly but didn't refute it. This fan-flying bandit was the most talented disciple of the Water Moon Pirate and had countless methods. Master Bai and the Severed Blood Pirates weren't his match. There was another important point. The fan-flying bandit had invited a mechanism master like the short elder. His understanding of mechanisms was even higher than the Water Moon Pirates. This combination could indeed sweep through this place. After the youth in brocade opened the door, the three instantly entered the west door. Being on the same floor, they were in the opposite direction of Zhao Feng. The short elder's speed could only be described as miraculous. The first few rooms were all solved in a few breaths. AI, these mechanisms are still a bit rough. The Water Moon Pirate must have been in a hurry to set them up. The short elder said as if he was taking a stroll. The three didn't stop at all as they went straight to the 9th room. Just like what the short elder said, the west passage wasn't good. Not only was it hard, even if they succeeded, the rewards weren't much. The east was the Ying family's setup and had a great advantage. Zhao Feng was the first person to leave his palm print on the stone tablet. First come first served was a great advantage. Although he said this, the short elder's hands didn't stay idle. Crack! The 9th room was solved by the short elder in 20 breaths. At the same time, Zhao Feng, the Severed Blood Pirates and the Transverse Water Stronghold were still in the 9th room and had stayed there for half the time it took to make tea. In other words, the short elder had solved 9 rooms and the other 3 hadn't even solved a single room yet. A master was someone who had absolute authority in a certain area. Even if the Water Moon Pirate came back to life, he would have to admit the difference. After breaking through the 9th room, the fan-flying bandit and company arrived at the center of the first floor. In front of them was a small square. At the center of the square was a crystal coffin. On the 4 walls were 4 closed bronze doors with palm prints on them. Inside the crystal coffin were many rare treasures, including rare high-grade materials, glowing jewels and even spiritual-grade weapons. There were all sorts of items that dazzled the eyes of those at the true spirit realm. Any one of these items would make the eyes of those at the true spirit realm light up. However, there were no corpses in this crystal coffin. According to the layout, the items on the first floor aren't the best. The items on the second and third floors will be better. Only on the 3rd floor will there be the corpse of the Water Moon Pirate as well as his most important treasures. The short elder said. His suggestion was to give up on the items on the 1st floor and go straight to the 2nd. However, the fan-flying bandit and the flower-dressed beauty didn't move as they stared at the treasures in the 1st floor. 100-flower sack. There's a 100-flower sack. The fan-flying bandit couldn't help but be excited. The flower-dressed beauty also stared at a rainbow-colored sack that was around the size of a newborn baby. 100-flower sack. There's a 100-flower sack of the Water Moon 4 treasures here. The short elder exclaimed. The Water Moon 4 treasures were the 4 treasures that the Water Moon Pirate had used to dominate the Canopy Great Country. Amongst them, the 100-flower sack was the support weapon of the Water Moon Pirate and could be used to create hundreds of poisons. The drunken celestial fragrance was just one of them. The 100-flower sack contains hundreds of poisons, soft fragrances, and other medicines. Many of them could poison those at the true spirit realm and some poison incense could instantly kill those at the true spirit realm. There are also some special medicines that can instantly increase one's battle power or even extend one's life. The flower-dressed beauty's voice trembled. This 100-flower sack was a treasure that those of the wicked path dreamed of. It had many uses, such as killing, saving, strengthening. It was an all-round 100-treasure sack. Once one had this item, even those who didn't have the strength to truss a chicken could kill those at the true spirit realm. Chapter 289. Although the items on the first floor weren't the best according to the layout of the tomb, there was still one of the Water Moon 4 treasures. The fan-flying bandit definitely wouldn't let go of this 100-flower sack. However, the three didn't move. The tomb of the Water Moon pirate was filled with traps and dangers. The more important the situation, the more they couldn't be careless. The short, dark-skinned old man walked around the crystal coffin and said with a grave expression, "The mechanisms here are even more profound, and the danger has increased greatly. Compared to the traps around the crystal coffin, the rooms before were child's play. Master, take it slow." The youth in brocade smiled faintly as he stared at the crystal coffin and released his spiritual sense to team up with the short elder. Being the most outstanding disciple of the Water Moon pirate, he had studied mechanisms and arrays to a certain degree. Time passed by slowly. The short elder was, after all, a mechanisms master, and his attainments in this area surpassed the Water Moon pirate. His progress was smooth. Half the time it took to make tea later, over half of the mechanisms around the crystal coffin had been solved. A palm-wide crack had also appeared on the crystal coffin. At this point in time, the youth in brocade and company could barely take some of the items around the crystal coffin, and their expressions were filled with excitement. Just the value of the items on the first floor had already surpassed a normal true mystic rank experts. Adding on the 100-flower sack's value, it was even comparable to the wealth of a true lord rank. Crack! A door suddenly opened on the east side of the little field. A blue-haired youth with a cold expression slowly walked out. This sudden change caused the young man in embroidered robes and the other two to be slightly stunned. When the two realized that the newcomer was only a youth at the seventh sky, they couldn't help but smile at each other. There was a hint of playfulness and cruelty in that smile. "Ha ha ha! This brat is the winner." The youth in brocade's playful gaze landed on the short elder and then Zhao Feng. According to what the short old man had said earlier, the eastern entrance of the mausoleum had a better atmosphere. Leaning toward the east was the pattern of the owner and the winner. The short elder was silent. He sighed and gave Zhao Feng a pitiful and unbearable glance. Even though the entrance Zhao Feng had chosen had the best layout, he was alone and insignificant. If the fan-flying bandit wanted to kill this youth, he could do so with a flick of his finger. When Zhao Feng walked into the hall, he immediately noticed the brocade-robed youth and the other two who were trying to crack the mechanism. Especially the young man with the peach fan, he gave him a sense of crisis. However, Zhao Feng was calm and didn't panic in the slightest. He swept his gaze around and sized up his surroundings. Around the square, there were still 4 bronze gates arranged in the east, west, south, and north. To the east of Zhao Feng, the palm print on the bronze gate matched his palm. In other words, Zhao Feng only needed to reach out and touch the handprint to open the passage to the second floor. "Little blue feather, do you dare to bet on whether or not you can escape from me before you open the door?" The brocade-robed youth opened the peach blossom fan in his hand with a faint smile on his face. At his level, killing a brat at the 7th sky was child's play. He just wanted to play with this brat a bit. Zhao Feng didn't move and was expressionless. He could indeed feel the danger from the brocade-robed youth. However, he was confident in his ability to escape. However, Zhao Feng wasn't willing to give up on the treasure in the crystal coffin so easily, so he didn't make any rash moves. Crack! A door to the north opened and several figures walked out. The severed blood bald eagle, the azure-robed Taoist, and 2 other pirates. They were covered in dust and seemed to be in a ruffled state. However, the aura from them, especially the severed blood bald eagle's chi of true spirit, caught the attention of the brocade-robed youth. Coincidentally, at this point in time, the array around the crystal coffin had reached a critical point. The appearance of the pirates caused the brocade-robed youth's attention to temporarily forget about Zhao Feng, who was only at the 7th sky. "It's you, fan-flying bandit." The severed blood bald eagle couldn't help but take a cold breath when he saw the brocade-robed youth holding the fan. Although they were both at the true spirit realm, the fan-flying bandit's reputation was much higher. The fan-flying bandit harumphed coldly. Although he didn't put a severed blood bald eagle at the true spirit realm in his eyes, he couldn't underestimate him. The severed blood bald eagle and company were full of caution as they carefully approached the crystal coffin. The fan in the fan-flying bandit's hand flapped rhythmically as coldness flashed in his eyes. The atmosphere was tense and no one would easily give up on the first floor. Crack! A door to the south suddenly opened and several figures walked out. The leader, Master Bai, had a face as black as charcoal. Behind him was Bai Qiaoyu, the head of the Bai family, and another expert at half-step true spirit realm. Another faction had appeared and an expert at the true spirit realm that could affect the situation. The fan-flying bandit took a light breath as he closed his fan and didn't attack. He still had the confidence to fight 1 against 2 and protect himself. However, killing 2 at the true spirit realm would be much more difficult. At this point in time, the 3 parties formed a delicate balance. It was Zhao Feng who was at the 7th sky that was ignored by the 3 sides. Heian Master. Master Bai and Bai Qiaoyu looked at the short elder in shock. The short elder, who was the Heian Master that they spoke of, was currently solving the mechanism and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Master Bai, Qiaoyu, the current situation doesn't allow us to stand on the opposite side. Hearing this, Zhao Feng came to a realization. Master Bai had mentioned before that Bai Qiaoyu had been taught by a mechanisms master, although she was only an in-name disciple. And now, Bai Qiaoyu's master was right in front of them. No wonder these 3 passed so quickly. So there's a mechanisms master among them. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. He didn't even need to guess to know that Heian Master had been threatened by the fan-flying bandit to solve the mechanism. How about this, the 3 of us discuss how to split the treasures in the crystal coffin. The youth in brocade squeezed out a warm smile. This suggestion allowed Master Bai and the short elder to breathe a sigh of relief. The fan-flying bandit was the direct disciple of the water moon pirate. He could use various fragrances and poisons to kill people invisibly and was very hard to deal with. Even if the 2 teamed up, they could at most tie. After discussing, the fan-flying bandit had put in the most effort and would take 50% of the treasures. The remaining 50% would be split between the severed blood pirates and the transverse water stronghold. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle didn't disagree and agreed. As for Zhao Feng, he was obviously ignored by the 3 factions. Humph. Once I get the 100-flower sack, killing all of you will be as easy as flipping my hand. The youth in brocade laughed coldly in his heart. The flower-dressed girl next to him also had a smile on her face as she exchanged glances with the youth in brocade. As long as they got the 100-flower sack, they could easily kill normal true human rank cultivators with a single powerful poison. The 100-flower sack wasn't very eye-catching amongst the items. After all, it was only a strange item and its value was in its usage. Its material wasn't as good as a spiritual-grade weapon. If one didn't know the usage of the 100-flower sack, it wouldn't even look like a peak mortal-grade weapon. Therefore, even Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye ignored the 100-flower sack. The water moon pirate was someone from 100 years ago. These people haven't seen Master and the 100-flower sack, so they probably don't know its value. However, the situation wasn't as smooth as the youth in brocade had thought. The azure-robed Daoist's expression changed slightly as his eyes scanned the 100-flower sack. Severed blood pirate boss, that ordinary-looking multicolored 100-flower sack could very well be the water moon pirate's 100-flower sack, one of the 4 water moon treasures. The azure-robed Daoist secretly messaged. Hearing this, the severed blood bald eagle's heart jumped and instantly understood the fan-flying bandit's intentions. At the same time on the other side, when Master Bai's eyes scanned the 100-flower sack, his expression froze slightly, but he didn't say anything. The fan-flying bandit had obviously underestimated the 2 sides. The azure-robed Daoist was a grave robber master, and although Master Bai had stayed in the transverse water stronghold for a long time, he had his own connections. Of the people present, only Zhao Feng didn't know the value of the 100-flower sack. His god's spiritual eye instead locked onto the other items. Zhe, there's a bottle of 100-flower saint liquid among the burial items. This liquid is the secret 100-flower wicked sect saint liquid and can help one break through to the true spirit realm. The youth in brocade stared at a blue bottle among the burial items and purposely diverted everyone's attention. Hearing this, Zhao Feng's heart moved slightly. This 100-flower saint liquid seemed to be an upgraded version of the shedding spiritual pill. Crack! The heavy sound of the coffin lid hitting the ground moved the hearts of both parties. The coffin lid had been opened. Success! In the instant of success, Heian Master didn't get greedy and quickly left the circle. Almost at the same time, the three at the True Spirit Realm released their chi of True Spirit as they leapt towards the crystal coffin. Boom! The three at the True Spirit Realm clashed in the air above the crystal coffin and the resulting shockwave sent the crystal coffin flying. Many burial items flew into the air. What's going on? Why aren't the three at the True Spirit Realm fighting for the spiritual grade weapon or other materials, but a multicolored bag? Zhao Feng didn't understand. All of you, fuck off. The youth in brocade waved his fan and flashes of red light lit up half the field. The three at the True Spirit Realm all fought for the multicolored bag. Most of the remaining people were at half-step True Spirit Realm, and they blocked the shockwaves and snatched some of the treasures. Snatch! Zhao Feng's eyes lit up and he waved his Yin shadow cloak. His figure became dim and he turned into a streak of lightning as he entered the chaotic battle. Because of the Yin shadow cloak and the lightning inheritance, Zhao Feng's speed wasn't any slower than normal cultivators at the True Spirit Realm. In just a few breaths, he had snatched several peak mortal grade weapons that were comparable to the Luo Ho Bao as well as a few other rare materials. Meow meow. The little thieving cat also joined in the chaos. 100-flower saint liquid. The azure-robed Taoist exclaimed as he fought with the flower-dressed girl for the bottle of blue liquid. Both of them were at the half-step True Spirit Realm, and if they could obtain this secret 100-flower saint liquid, they would definitely reach the True Spirit Realm. This 100-flower saint liquid can help me break through to the half-step True Spirit Realm. Zhao Feng's eyes lit up as he charged towards the blue bottle. His speed easily surpassed the azure-robed Taoist and the flower-dressed girl. The difference was obvious. Bastard, let go. The azure-robed Taoist was enraged as he watched Zhao Feng snatch the bottle of 100-flower saint liquid. The flower-dressed girl also had a cold expression as she circulated her chi of half-step True Spirit and charged towards Zhao Feng. Chapter 290. The 100-flower saint liquid wasn't a rare treasure for the three at True Spirit Realm. However, for the flower-dressed girl and the azure-robed Taoist at half-step True Spirit Realm, its value surpassed normal spiritual grade weapons. The flower-dressed beauty's chi of half-step True Spirit had reached 70% conversion and her cultivation was extremely close to the True Spirit Realm. If she could obtain the 100-flower saint liquid, she would definitely be able to break through to the True Spirit Realm. The azure-robed Taoist's cultivation wasn't much lower and his desire for the 100-flower saint liquid wasn't any lower than the 100-flower sack. The 100-flower sack was something that the three at the True Spirit Realm fought over. At this moment, seeing that the 100-flower saint liquid they were about to obtain was taken by a youth at 7th Sky, the anger in their hearts were hard to describe. Shwa! Zhao Feng grabbed the 100-flower saint liquid and put it into his interspatial dimension. Bastard, leave the 100-flower saint liquid behind and I'll let you live. Little brother, give the 100-flower saint liquid to sister and I'll ask senior martial brother to let you live. The azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed beauty charged towards Zhao Feng amidst the chaos. Chiao! Zhao Feng's speed was faster than the two and he easily dodged several rounds of attacks. Not only that, he didn't forget to grab the spoils of war in the air as he dodged them. Spiritual pills, materials, weapons, treasures. Everything was taken by Zhao Feng. On the side, the little thieving cat was extremely fierce and wasn't slower than its owner when it took the treasures. On the other side, the head of the Bai family was flabbergasted. At the juncture of the competition between the three true spirit realm experts, the man and the cat were like fish in water, getting whatever they wanted. This little bastard's speed is so fast. That cloak, could it be an inheritance treasure? The azure-robed Daoist's face was green and his eyes were filled with greed and anger. He's comprehended the rare laws of lightning and his forte is speed. It was hard for the flower-dressed beauty to chase after him. In the chaos, Zhao Feng was even more relaxed than them and easily dissolved the shockwaves from the attacks of the three true spirit realms. His strength wasn't any weaker than normal true spirit realms. In reality, Zhao Feng was deliberately not fighting them. This was not only because their strength far surpassed any one of the dark feather foreshadows, but also because of other factors. If Zhao Feng killed or heavily injured one of them, it would break the balance and attract the attention of the true spirit realm cultivators. Moreover, in such a chaotic situation, it was better to snatch a few more treasures. Time was money. Mysterious snake blood whip. This whip is actually a famous divine weapon of the Crimson Moon sect. Another fierce battle broke out among the crowd. The Severed Blood Pirates and the Bai family began to fight. A dark silver snake whip with blood patterns on it twisted in the air, giving off a strange bloody aura. Of the burial items, there were 5 or 6 spirit-grade artifacts, but this one was the most valuable and had the most unique attributes. Zhao Feng scanned it with his god's spiritual eye and found it weird. The aura of this mystic snake blood whip was only at the low-tier spiritual grade and wasn't stronger than the other weapons. However, in terms of aura, this mystic snake blood whip was similar to the blood moon devouring spirit sword he had extorted from the blood corpse protector, but the latter was a damaged weapon. If I'm lucky this time, I'll definitely need a good close combat weapon when I break through to the true spirit realm. A whip-type weapon is very suitable for close combat in the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he made his decision. Back then, when Zhao Feng's cultivation was low, a spiritual-grade weapon was useless. But now, the half-step true spirit realm wasn't far away and he could barely use a spiritual-grade weapon. At this point in time, several half-step true spirit realm cultivators fought for the mystic snake blood whip. Of all the items, the mystic snake blood whip's value was only below the 100-flower sack of the Water Moon 4 treasures. The mystic snake blood whip can absorb essence blood to strengthen its quality and power. The highest it can reach is a middle-grade spiritual-grade weapon or even close to a high-grade spiritual-grade weapon. The azure-robed elder's eyes lit up as he was attracted by the whip. He was an expert grave robber and had done a lot of research on the many treasures in the long river of history. His eyes were sharp. Zhao Feng didn't know the attributes of the mystic snake blood whip. It could absorb blood to increase the quality and power of the weapon, which was equivalent to an inheritance. However, at this point in time, the head of the Bai family, the flower-dressed girl, and the azure-robed Daoist all stared at the mystic snake blood whip. Even the 3 at the true spirit realm were distracted. The mystic snake blood whip was a unique weapon that even those at the true spirit realm would be jealous of. However, the 3 at the true spirit realm couldn't let go of the 100-flower sack. Especially if the 100-flower sack was taken by the fan-flying bandit, he would be able to annihilate everyone. The terrifying killing power of the 100-flower sack could affect the entire situation. This was what everyone was worried about. Therefore, even if they were tempted by the mystic snake blood whip, they couldn't give up on the 100-flower sack. After I take the mystic snake blood whip, I'll immediately escape to the 2nd floor. Zhao Feng made up his mind. If he could obtain the 100-flower holy liquid, the mystic snake blood whip, and other treasures at the same time, he would be satisfied. As for the 100-flower sack, Zhao Feng didn't know what it was used for, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Of course, if Zhao Feng knew that the 100-flower sack had such terrifying destructive power that it could control the entire battlefield, he wouldn't have ignored it. Take it. Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat glanced at each other and charged towards the mystic snake blood whip at the same time. There were 4 or 5 at the half-step true spirit realm near the mystic snake blood whip. Amongst them, the azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed girl were the strongest, followed by the head of the Bai family and the other two at the half-step true spirit realm. That brat's coming again. The azure-robed Taoist's eyes flashed with hatred and coldness. The flower-dressed girl also noticed Zhao Feng, but her expression didn't change. The two had made up their minds to kill Zhao Feng if they had the chance while fighting for the mystic snake blood whip. The value of Zhao Feng's Yin Shadow Cloak and 100-flower Saint Liquid wasn't any lower than the mystic snake blood whip. However, they also understood Zhao Feng's strength and speed. Unless there was a good chance, he wouldn't make a move easily. With Zhao Feng's participation, the fight for the mystic snake blood whip reached its climax. The other two at the half-step true spirit realm couldn't hold on any longer and temporarily retreated. This meant that only the azure-robed Taoist, flower-dressed girl, the head of the Bai family and Zhao Feng were left. Zhao Feng's battle power wasn't to be underestimated. He wasn't at a disadvantage against three at the half-step true spirit realm. This brat's hidden his strength so deeply. The azure-robed Taoist, flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were stunned. Heian Master and the three cultivators at the true spirit realm also noticed this. Zhao Feng's battle power was shocking and his speed suppressed the three at the half-step true spirit realm, allowing him to control the situation. Qiao! Lightning crackled around Zhao Feng as he raised his speed to the maximum and was about to take the mystic snake blood whip. Don't even think about it. Bastard, you're courting death. The azure-robed Taoist and flower-dressed girl attacked Zhao Feng together. The head of the Bai family snickered coldly and didn't protect Zhao Feng, instead leaping towards the mystic snake blood whip from the side. At this point in time, Zhao Feng faced the combined attacks of three at the half-step true spirit realm. If Zhao Feng went to take the mystic snake blood whip in midair, he would face the combined attacks of three at the half-step true spirit realm, which was no weaker than a true spirit realm attack. I'll leave it to you. Zhao Feng's figure sunk down. Meow meow. In the blink of an eye, three Rahu arrows of ice and lightning intertwined with each other, dragging behind them a few meters long glowing arrowhead as they stood side by side, stirring up a storm of ice and lightning. Ice, thunder, wind, storm. Zhao Feng pulled the bow and watched as the three arrows with his highest comprehension and strongest bloodline landed on the 100-flower sack. Boom! The entire first floor of the square slightly shook. The 100-flower sack was hit by the three arrows and the power of the full-powered attacks of those at the true spirit realm caused the surface of the 100-flower sack to crack. Sizzle of poisonous smoke rose from the surface of the 100-flower sack before being engulfed in black flames. No! Don't! The fan-flying bandit screamed and almost went crazy. The severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were also dazed and didn't know what to do. Chapter 291. The three arrows that contained the ice lightning storm had unleashed Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance to the maximum and he didn't hold back his bloodline power either. The Luoho Bao's ice lotus symbol shone brightly. The small square trembled slightly, attracting the attention of everyone present. This was especially so for the three at the true spirit realm. They were either shocked or dazed. Zhao Feng's target was the 100-flower sack. The 100-flower sack was a unique item, but it wasn't a true weapon. Its material wasn't as hard as a spiritual-grade weapon. On the other hand, the power of Zhao Feng's three arrows had definitely reached the level of the true spirit realm. The power of the fusion of ice and lightning entered the 100-flower sack through the cracks. Shwa! Poisonous smoke rose from the 100-flower sack as it was enveloped by a layer of black flames. You dare! The fan-flying bandit pointed at Zhao Feng with a trembling voice as he jumped up and down. His expression was extremely ugly as if he was about to cry. Master Bai and the severed blood pirate's eyes bulged out in shock, unable to accept this reality. Zhao Feng was extremely curious. The reactions of these people were too exaggerated. Didn't he just destroy a bag? Whoosh! Whoosh! The cracks on the 100-flower sack's surface continued to spread and gave off a multicolored smoke. Not good. The expressions of Master Bai and the severed blood pirate changed dramatically as they retreated. The 100-flower sack contained hundreds of poisons and fragrances. Some of the poisons could even instantly kill those at the true spirit realm. At this point in time, the three at the true spirit realm all retreated as they held their breaths in fear and used their chi of true spirit to seal their bodies. Zhao Feng felt a fatal aura and immediately moved in front of the bronze door and placed his hand on it. When the green bronze door opened and a dark green wave of light enveloped Zhao Feng like a river. Blue-haired brat! You dare to destroy the 100-flower gate's 100-flower sack. I'll turn your bones to dust. The fan-flying bandit's handsome face was slightly ferocious. It was an expression of extreme hatred. 100-flower sack. What was this thing? Zhao Feng couldn't help but shiver. He felt that the fan-flying bandit wanted to eat his flesh. Due to the fact that the 100-flower sack had been destroyed, the terrifying poisonous aura leaked out and the three true spirit realms retreated far away, not daring to chase after Zhao Feng. What treasure is it that gives off such a terrifying aura that even those at the true spirit realm are wary of? Zhao Feng was no fool. He could vaguely guess the use of the 100-flower sack. However, he did not regret what he had just done. If such a terrifying weapon fell into the hands of the enemy, it would be a nightmare. The fan-flying bandit was obviously furious. If he had taken the 100-flower sack just then, he was confident that he could kill the other two at the true spirit realm and take the entire Water Moon treasury for himself. However, no one had expected that Zhao Feng, the neglected 7th celestial layer kid, would destroy his grand dream in one fell swoop. In comparison, Master Bai and the severed blood pirates were quite fortunate. Of the three at the true spirit realm, the fan-flying bandit was the strongest and had the fastest speed. His chances of taking the 100-flower sack were higher than the other two. If the 100-flower sack had fallen into the hands of this bandit, they wouldn't even have the chance to run away. Zhao Feng's actions had caused the balance between the three forces to be maintained. Without the 100-flower sack, the fan-flying bandit didn't have the confidence to beat the other two at the true spirit realm. At this point in time, the fan-flying bandit could only watch as Zhao Feng entered the pathway to the 2nd floor and the bronze door closed with a boom. Senior brother, this brat should be skinned alive and tortured for 100 days. Make him beg for death. The flower-dressed girl's eyes were filled with hatred. The azure-robed Taoist gritted his teeth as he stared at Zhao Feng's leaving figure. Just then, Zhao Feng had taken 2 items from the 1st floor, the 100-flower saint liquid and the mystic snake blood whip. Of all the items, apart from the 100-flower sack, these 2 were the most valuable. But Zhao Feng had destroyed the 100-flower sack, which was extremely hateful. At this point in time, the azure-robed Taoist, the flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were numb with more than 10 burn marks on their bodies. However, they were wary of Zhao Feng's strength. Zhao Feng had suppressed the 3 at half-step true spirit realm and the ice lightning tornado he had released was comparable to those at the true spirit realm. All in all, at this point in time, all 3 forces hated Zhao Feng. Apart from Heian Master and Bai Qiaoyu, their expressions were filled with fear as they couldn't imagine what had just happened. Don't worry, that brat will appear on the 2nd floor sooner or later. We have a mechanisms master on our side and our speed is definitely faster than his. The fan-flying bandit's expression calmed down as the coldness in his eyes became even colder. Next, the 3 parties divided the rest of the funerary goods according to their strength. Amongst the items, there were a few spiritual-grade weapons as well as many precious materials and treasures. In terms of value, the remaining items were higher than what Zhao Feng had taken. However, after the 3 forces split it, it wasn't as good. After splitting it up, the 3 parties opened their respective bronze gates. The fan-flying bandit and company were on the west side, facing Zhao Feng on the east side. Master Bai and company were on the east side. The severed blood pirates were on the north side. According to Heian Master's analysis, the west side had the worst layout and the best layout was taken by Zhao Feng. However, this couldn't be helped. From the moment he touched the stone tablet, the layout was decided. So what if the layout is good? I will conquer the heavens and annihilate everyone else in one fell swoop. The youth's ambition didn't decrease. The flower-dressed girl nodded her head. Of the water moon 4 treasures, the 100-flower sack is ranked 4th. There's also the water moon god peach fan, the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the mystic flower treasured Bible. If senior brother can obtain the 3rd-ranked water moon god peach fan, even if the two at the true spirit realm teamed up, they won't be senior brother's match. If senior brother can obtain the 3-flowered treasured lotus, even if a true mystic rank comes, senior brother won't be defeated. The most important thing is still the mystic flower treasured Bible. Even if we can't get the other 3 treasures, we can't leave this one behind. The fan-flying bandit said decisively. Back then, although Master had the mystic flower treasured Bible, he was just a step away from reaching the true Lord rank. The most important thing was that he fell in love with Empress Qin. My talent isn't any weaker than his and my personality is even more vicious. If I can obtain the mystic flower treasured Bible, I'll definitely be able to become the leader of the wicked path and take control of the 100-flower chapter, becoming the 9th superpower. The youth in brocade took a deep breath as the flames of ambition burned in his eyes. The fan-flying bandit and company entered the 2nd floor and started to solve the new array. The path to the 2nd floor also had 9 rooms. As long as one passed through these 9 rooms, they would be able to enter the 2nd floor. According to the layout, the treasures on the 2nd floor would definitely be better than the first. Heian Master's speed was definitely faster than the other 3. In just half the time it took to make tea, the fan-flying bandit and company had entered the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor also had a small field and the layout was similar to the 1st floor. In the middle of the field was a crystal coffin and the treasures inside were twice as plentiful as the 1st floor. Water moon god peach fan. The youth in brocade and the flower-dressed woman stared at the elegant mountain river folding fan in the middle of the crystal coffin and their hearts trembled. The water moon god peach fan was the strongest weapon of the water moon pirate when he was alive. This fan was extremely powerful and it was an inheritance treasure. This fan can activate spiritual illusions and hide 7 types of hidden weapons. It can even transform into an umbrella to defend and attack. It can be said to be both offensive and defensive. Apparently, the water moon god peach fan's power is comparable to a high-tier spiritual grade weapon. One has to know that the number of high-tier spiritual grade weapons in the Canopy Great Country can be counted on one hand. The youth in brocade's eyes lit up and his face was filled with anticipation. Compared to an inheritance treasure like the water moon god peach fan, the 100-flower sack was inferior. Of course. Around the crystal coffin were extremely complex arrays that were far more refined than the 1st floor. The mechanisms here are similar to the blueprints from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Heian Master's expression was solemn. He started to solve the mechanisms meticulously. The youth in brocade released his spiritual sense and teamed up with him. Time passed by quickly. The speed of solving this time was much slower than the 1st floor. The youth in brocade couldn't help but become anxious. He had to solve the mechanisms around the crystal coffin before Master Bai and the severed blood pirates arrived. Soon, half a day had passed. Crack! At this time, Heian Master finally opened the crystal coffin. Water moon god peach fan. The youth in brocade laughed and used his chi of true spirit to grab the inheritance treasure fan. He didn't know if it was a coincidence, but as soon as he took the water moon god peach fan, the north and south doors opened. Not good. The fan-flying bandit got it first. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle's expressions changed dramatically. The two groups didn't slow down and charged forward to fight for the other treasures within the crystal coffin. The youth in brocade had the water moon god peach fan and his battle power indeed increased, allowing him to suppress the two at the true spirit realm. What's going on? This water moon god peach fan isn't as strong as we thought. The flower-dressed girl didn't understand. According to her thoughts, senior brother should be able to heavily injure or even kill the two at the true spirit realm in a short amount of time. Damn it! This inheritance treasure needs to be refined before it can unleash its true power. Right now, I can only use 50 to 60% of its power at the same cultivation. If only I had more time. The youth in brocade said unwillingly. In order for an inheritance treasure to recognize its master, special conditions were usually required, such as a bloodline inheritance or a suitable cultivation technique. Being the direct disciple of the Water Moon Pirate, the youth in brocade obviously had a suitable skill, but it needed to be refined before it could unleash its true power. While the three sides were fighting for the treasures, a door opened on the east side. Zhao Feng entered the plaza on the second floor. The reason why he was the last to enter was because he didn't focus on speed. If he entered too quickly, he would bump into the fan-flying bandit, which would be extremely dangerous. His eyes scanned over half of the items on the second floor and he couldn't help but sigh. If Zhao Feng charged up now, he would probably be attacked by the other groups. Both the fan-flying bandit and the severed blood pirates wouldn't let him go. According to this trend, I won't be able to obtain the richest treasures on the third floor. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. In terms of mechanisms, he was alone and definitely couldn't compare to a mechanism master and someone at the true spirit realm. Zhao Feng wasn't willing to give up just like this. However, in terms of strength and manpower, he couldn't compare to the other three. If this was the case on the second floor, the difference would be even greater on the third floor. However, as his thoughts turned, a plan to turn the tables appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Chapter 292. On the second floor, the fan-flying bandit had obtained the Water Moon God Peach fan and suppressed two experts at the true spirit realm. He even managed to stall everyone by himself. Most of the items in the crystal coffin had been taken by the three. This was because the Water Moon God Peach fan hadn't been refined yet, or else the fan-flying bandit would have been heavily injured or even killed the two at the true spirit realm. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle won't be able to last much longer. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. He stood near the eastern entrance with a calm expression and didn't make any rash moves. Zhao Feng. Why aren't you helping? Master Bai saw Zhao Feng and yelled. Blue-haired brat. If we die, you won't be able to live either. A cold light flashed in the severed blood bald eagle's eyes. Zhao Feng's strength was definitely the strongest below the three at the true spirit realm. On the first floor, he had defeated three experts at the half-step true spirit realm by himself. If Zhao Feng was willing to help, he would have the battle power of half a true spirit realm. Although he might not be able to turn the situation around, he could at least reduce the pressure on the two sides. Zhao Feng stood there like a block of wood, not reacting at all. Ha ha ha. Blue-haired brat, it doesn't matter if you help them or not, I'll turn your bones to dust. The youth in brocade robes laughed wildly as he stared at Zhao Feng's divine light with cold killing intent. On the first floor, the fan-flying bandit had already hated Zhao Feng. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, he would have already obtained the 100-flower sack and killed everyone here. This fan-flying bandit was so dominating. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. It didn't matter if Zhao Feng helped the other two or not, the other wouldn't let him go. From this, one could see how confident the fan-flying bandit was that he could suppress everyone with the Water Moon God Peach fan. Humph. These two won't be able to last long. After I force them back, I'll spend some time refining the Water Moon God Peach fan. At that time, killing these people will be as easy as flipping my palm. The youth in embroidered robes was confident of his victory. With his strength, he stood at a commanding height. What did he need to fear? Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were overjoyed by the fan-flying bandit's words. Zhao Feng. The fan-flying bandit won't let you go. Come and help us. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were in a dangerous situation. Even Bai Qiaoyu couldn't help but say, Brother Zhao, please help us. If this thief succeeded, he would definitely bring harm to the world. You must stop him. Yes. Zhao Feng nodded slightly. With that, he waved his hand. Meow, meow. The little thieving cat grabbed a dark silver snake whip and jumped in the air. Zhao Feng gave a glance and the little thieving cat waved the mystic snake blood whip and joined the chaotic ranks. The little thieving cat's agility was unparalleled and its concealment skills were superb. With a few flashes, it joined the fight for the treasures below. 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The azure-robed Taoist, the flower-dressed girl and the head of the Bai family were fighting for a 5-colored crystal. The 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal was a rare material that could be merged into any weapon to increase its power and quality. A single 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal could increase the power of a low-tier spiritual grade weapon by half a rank. If it was used with other materials, it could even be raised to a middle-tier spiritual grade weapon. If it was a peak-tier mortal grade weapon such as Zhao Feng's Luo Ho Bao, a single 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal could raise it to a spiritual grade weapon. The value of this material was even higher than normal spiritual grade weapons. Shwa! Suddenly, a snake shadow like a bloody whip appeared out of thin air and took away the 5 Elements Piercing Crystal. Thieving cat, you're courting death. Put down the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The flower-dressed girl and the azure-robed Taoist roared in anger. However, their eyes immediately lit up. Not only did the little thieving cat have the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal, it also had the priceless Mystic Snake Blood Whip. As long as we kill this cat, we can obtain both the Mystic Snake Blood Whip and the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal. The value of these two items is comparable to the 100-flower sack. The 3 half-step True Spirit Realm experts leapt towards the little thieving cat. They believed that they were no match for Zhao Feng, but dealing with one of his kittens was still a piece of cake. Shwa! Shwa! The little thieving cat bared its fangs in disdain as its figure appeared and disappeared in the air. When it was hidden, even those at the True Spirit Realm wouldn't be able to find it. This scene caused the fan-flying bandit's expression to darken and he was filled with anger. This man and cat had stolen countless treasures. They were greedy and should be killed 10,000 times over. The youth in brocade made up his mind to kill the little thieving cat when he had the chance. After all, the value of the Mystic Snake Blood Whip and the 5 Elemental Piercing Crystal was close to the Water Moon God Peach fan in his hand. Even those at the True Spirit Realm would be jealous. Bang so, Zhao Feng pulled the Luo Ho Bao from afar and shot an arrow at the fan-flying bandit. His attack would only be able to stall the fan-flying bandit for a bit and wouldn't do any damage. Seeing that everyone's attention was on the little thieving cat, Zhao Feng's gaze turned towards Heiyun Master in the corner. Although Heiyun Master was at the half-step True Spirit Realm, his chi of True Spirit had only been converted to 10 to 20% and he didn't specialize in battle. Therefore, he was the same as Bai Qiaoyu and tried to avoid the battle. Master, I've admired your mechanics for a long time. I have a blueprint from the Prophet Legacy in my possession. Zhao Feng's lips didn't move and he didn't even use his true force, but his voice sounded in Heiyun Master's mind. After the god's spiritual eye had evolved and his mental energy techniques had improved, Zhao Feng could directly transmit his voice through mental energy. Heaven's Legacy Inheritance? Heiyun Master paused. Of the 4 great inheritances, the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance was ranked first and the most mysterious. On the current continent, there were a small number of blueprints that came from the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance which surpassed the level of the continent. Thieving cat! Die! The fan-flying bandit exclaimed and waved the Water Moon God Peach fan in his hand. A ripple of water with a cold intent swept toward the little thieving cat. Pang! Master Bai was pushed back by the fan and the ripple of water with the aura of death leapt towards the little thieving cat. Meow meow! The little thieving cat gave a cunning smile and disappeared. Its sense of danger was very strong. It had even made a dodging move the moment the fan-flying bandit made his move. Where did that thieving cat run off to? Everyone had lost track of the little thieving cat. The fan-flying bandit spread his spiritual sense and suspected that the little thieving cat had been turned into a pile of flesh and blood. Meow meow. The little thieving cat appeared on Zhao Feng's shoulder. Zhao Feng was standing next to Heian Master and they were very close to the east door. Heian Master. The fan-flying bandit suddenly realized something was wrong and exclaimed. At this point in time, Heian Master had a dazed expression as he stood in front of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng placed a hand on Heian Master's shoulder and faintly smiled. Everyone, I'll be going up to the 3rd floor. After saying this, he grabbed Heian Master and headed towards the east door. Oh my god! Everyone's heart shook. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were completely dazed and took in a cold breath. No one had noticed when Zhao Feng had grabbed Heian Master. Everyone's attention had been attracted by the little thieving cat, including the fan-flying bandit who had his eyes on the mystic snake blood whip and 5 elemental piercing crystal. Heian Master's expression was dazed and he didn't resist at all as he allowed Zhao Feng to bring him closer to the east door. Little thieving! Stop! The fan-flying bandit's heart went cold and he roared. The reason why he was able to gain the upper hand in the Water Moon Treasury was mainly because of Heian Master. In other words, whoever obtained Heian Master would gain the upper hand. Brat! Stop! The fan-flying bandit's heart was on fire as he circulated his chi of true spirit and leapt towards Zhao Feng. However, Zhao Feng had already calculated the distance and was very close to the east door. Shwa! Zhao Feng almost instantly arrived in front of the east door and placed his hand on it. When the east door opened and a dark green light enveloped Zhao Feng and Heian Master. Zhao Feng didn't go in himself first and instead pushed Heian Master in. Stay! The fan-flying bandit screamed as he watched Zhao Feng enter the pathway to the 3rd floor. He used all his strength and could only send out one attack. A terrifying ripple spread out at high speed and was enough to shatter normal weapons. Lightning Ring! Zhao Feng's bloodline power exploded as a lightning ring formed in his hand. This move was a variation of the lightning ring. It had a smaller range but was more concentrated. Boom! A dazzling sphere of electricity exploded, intertwining with the fan-shaped water ripples that vibrated at high speed. In that instant, the east door slightly shook. Half of Zhao Feng's body had already passed through the door, so he had only received half of the power. Dang! The east door closed and Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. Before the east door closed, Zhao Feng could still hear the fan-flying bandit's angry roar that shook the entire 2nd floor. Success! Zhao Feng wiped the blood from his mouth. Next to him, Heian Master's dazed expression returned to normal as he looked deeply at Zhao Feng. The younger generation will surpass the older. Master, I hope you don't resist. I believe we can work together smoothly. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. His blue hair slowly fell to the ground. The little thieving cat was sitting on his shoulder and rubbing his face as if it was taking credit for its success. Heian Master's heart was filled with shock. This youth had only glanced at him and he felt as if he couldn't resist. This move of yours is indeed vicious. Heian Master said with praise, but then his words changed, however. I've been poisoned by the fan-flying bandit. If I don't get the antidote within half a day, I'll die. You think I can't see you've been poisoned? Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He was already prepared and a gray pill appeared in his hand. This is the 100 dissolving pill. The Water Moon Pirate's antidote. Heian Master exclaimed with a face of joy. This 100 dissolving pill was obtained by Zhao Feng when he was passing through the 1st floor's entrance. The east entrance was the best and only Zhao Feng had obtained this pill that could cure all poisons in the world. Heian Master immediately swallowed the 100 dissolving pill, and the poison in his body began to quickly dissolve as it was expelled from his body. Thank you. From now on, I will help you open the path to the 3rd floor. Heian Master said solemnly. However, Heian Master revealed a look of hesitation. I have the confidence to let you enter the third floor as quickly as possible, but you should know the strength of the fan-flying bandit and company. Relax, from now on, I'm in control of the situation. Zhao Feng's voice contained a power that could calm one's heart. Chapter 293. Second floor of the purple copper coffin. The fan-flying bandit roared and roared for a long time. The chi of true spirit in his body almost ignited. This blue-haired brat. The youth in brocade's face twisted as the anger and hatred in his eyes turned into killing intent. The severed blood bald eagle and Master Bai were both shocked and stunned. That sudden situation at the end was completely out of their expectations. Who would have thought that Zhao Feng, the weakest party, would make such a counterattack at the critical moment? In one step, that youth had turned the situation around and seized the initiative. Without a doubt, Zhao Feng could enter the third floor of the purple copper coffin as fast as he could with the mechanism's master. The third floor was where the Water Moon pirate was buried, and the treasures there were definitely the essence of the entire Water Moon's secret cave. Senior brother, the 3-flowered treasured lotus and mystic flower treasured Bible are definitely on the third floor. That brat's guts. The flowery dress woman was still in a state of shock. Only now did she react, and her chest heaved up and down. Humph, Heian Master has been hit by my 9-death flower poison, and without the antidote, he'll die in half a day. The third floor is the hardest, and even if that brat holds the master hostage, he won't be able to open the third floor. The youth in brocade calmed down. Without the antidote, Heian Master would die in half a day and probably wouldn't be able to solve the last part. Furthermore, the reason why Heian Master was able to solve the mechanism so easily was because of my spiritual sense that was close to the true mystic rank. Without my help, Heian Master's speed would probably drop by 30 to 40%. Thinking up to here, a cruel smile appeared on the youth's face. This means that we still have hope. The flower-dressed girl revealed a joyful expression. On the other side, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle felt extremely lucky. Zhao Feng had taken the mechanism's master and weakened the fan-flying bandit's control. This Zhao Feng's strength and methods are so vicious that he can fight against normal true spirit realm experts. Master Bai couldn't help but feel slightly regretful. He had always treated Zhao Feng as a chess piece, even wary of him and distrustful of him. When crossing the insect river, Master Bai had decided to give up on this chess piece. But he didn't expect Zhao Feng's performance to break the rules time and time again. Now, he was even able to overturn the situation and seize the initiative. The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Daoist had to admit that they had underestimated Zhao Feng too much. At this moment, Zhao Feng had the upper hand, although he might not succeed. Let's go. That Zhao Feng definitely won't get the mystic flower treasured Bible. Master Bai's face was full of confidence as he asked Bai Qiaoyu to open the southern passage to the third floor. The fan-flying bandit and the severed blood bald eagle didn't want to fight anymore. After dividing up the treasures, they quickly headed for the third floor. However, the 9 rooms leading to the third floor were filled with traps and formations, making it even more difficult. As for the severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed old Daoist priest, it took them half an incense's time to clear the first room. Flame Su, the master, Feng, the Su, the was, of silver. Copper, was. The fastest was obviously Zhao Feng. After the first room, Heian Master said hesitantly, the reason why I was so fast before was because of the fan-flying bandit's help. This bandit's spiritual sense is close to the true mystic rank. I'll help you. I won't lose to him. Zhao Feng's voice was calm and powerful. Heian Master obviously didn't believe it. After all, Zhao Feng's cultivation hadn't reached the half-step true spirit realm. In reality, with Zhao Feng's strong source of mental energy, he had already formed a spiritual sense. However, he usually didn't use it as it was miles away from the god's spiritual eye. If there were no obstacles, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could easily see hundreds of miles. Next, Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and followed Heian Master's instructions to help him solve the mechanisms. The result was that the first room was successfully solved. Heian Master was slightly surprised but still didn't believe it. Maybe luck played a part. However, in the second room, Zhao Feng's accurate eyesight surprised Heian Master. In the third room, Heian Master's surprise turned into shock. Apart from not being familiar with mechanisms and lacking experience, Zhao Feng's eyesight was even better than him. If it was said that Heian Master needed 10 breaths to understand the structure of a mechanism, then Zhao Feng only needed 1 glance. The problem was that even if Zhao Feng saw the structure of the mechanism, he didn't know how it worked and it was useless. Genius. A rare genius in 10,000 years. If you're willing to learn from me, this old man can help you become the only mechanisms grandmaster in the northern continent. Heian Master was extremely excited and his face was red. Sorry, but I'm also a forging genius, pill genius, array genius. Zhao Feng's expression was calm as if he was used to this situation. Back then, the blood-haired man and Taigon Master had to rely on his own control to create the wheel of light and darkness. One had to know. The blood-haired man's cultivation had reached the true lord rank and Taigon Master's skill in forging could be ranked in the top few in the great country. Only then did the heat in Heian Master's eyes dim. It was as if he was looking at a monster. If what this youth said wasn't wrong, then he was an all-rounder genius. His guess wasn't wrong. Zhao Feng was an all-rounder genius. Apart from body strengthening, he was like a fish in water in everything else. The speed at which Zhao Feng and Heian Master solved the mechanisms together was unimaginable. If you and I work together, our speed will definitely be the best in the continent. Heian Master's heart jumped. Zhao Feng only needed 1 glance to understand the structure of any mechanism. Furthermore, as he followed Heian Master, Zhao Feng's knowledge and experience were also increasing. Finally, the two only used half the time it took to make tea to solve the 9 rooms. This is too fast and the layout of the east side is indeed good. Heian Master couldn't help but sigh. On the way, Zhao Feng had obtained a lot of benefits and he had even obtained the 100 dissolving pill. Creak. The door to the 3rd floor opened. Zhao Feng suppressed his excitement and stepped into a new little square. The 3rd floor didn't change in size but the space above his head was huge. In the middle was a crystal coffin that hung in midair and a corpse could be faintly seen inside. It hadn't changed at all even after 100 years. Inside the crystal coffin were some burial items. Although there weren't many, any one of them was at least a spiritual grade weapon. Inside the crystal coffin was a palm-sized 3-colored lotus throne. It gave off a warm glow, looking very eye-catching. This is the 3-flowered treasured lotus of the Water Moon 4 treasures. Heian Master's face was filled with shock as if he had seen a beauty. He didn't have such an expression on the 1st or 2nd floor. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye scanned over it and immediately confirmed that the value of the 3-flowered treasured lotus surpassed the Water Moon god peach fan and 100-flower sack. It was even more valuable than the latter two combined. The 3-flowered treasured lotus is the inheritance of the 100-flower chapter and a sacred item of the wicked path. Back then, the Water Moon pirate had this item which allowed him to block the combined forces of many true spirit realm experts. Even those at the true spirit realm couldn't do anything to him. Heian Master sighed. Hearing up to here, Zhao Feng's heart beat faster. After Heian Master's explanation, he understood the use of the lotus. The 3-flowered treasured lotus was a defensive treasure and didn't have any offensive abilities. However, its defensive and supportive abilities were extremely strong. Firstly, the 3-flowered treasured lotus could fly extremely quickly and if a true mystic rank used it, its speed would be comparable to the true lord rank and it didn't expend much energy. Secondly, the 3-flowered treasured lotus could form 3 petals to protect its owner and normal true spirit realm attacks wouldn't be able to break through its defense. Lastly, the three-flowered treasured lotus could release 3 different fragrances which could clear one's mind, hypnotize one's mind and increase one's mood. The three-flowered treasured lotus could even gather heaven-earth yuan qi to increase one's cultivation speed. It was because of this item that the water moon pirate was able to reach the peak true mystic rank in just a few decades. The first, clear, fragrance could clear the hypnotic and aphrodisiac effects and could even cure most poisons of the wicked path. The three-flowered treasured lotus is the water moon pirate's most important treasure and his trump card. If you can refine the three-flowered treasured lotus, you'll be able to block the attacks of those at the true human rank for a short period of time. Heian Master smiled and said. Zhao Feng nodded his head and his gaze moved above the crystal coffin. Above the crystal coffin hung a mystic ice crystal that gave off a cold aura. Sealed within was an ancient book that glowed with a dark light. Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. Zhao Feng's heart jumped when he recognized the words on the book. Heian Master and Zhao Feng arrived near the crystal coffin and started to solve the last mechanism. I didn't think that the last mechanism would use the blueprints from the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Heian Master's expression became solemn. His understanding of mechanisms naturally far surpassed the water moon pirate himself. However, the core of the mechanism came from the most mysterious and ancient Heaven's Legacy inheritance. The intricacy and complexity of the mechanisms here were unimaginable. Even Heian Master was puzzled by some of the principles. How about this, I'll draw out the structure of the mechanism. Zhao Feng suggested. Draw it out? Heian Master was stunned. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Feng took out a brush and paper and began to quickly draw on the map. His eyes were calm and the hand holding the pen was extremely steady without any trembling. In a single breath, Zhao Feng drew several dozen blueprints, his accuracy reaching a terrifying level. Heian Master looked at the complicated blueprints in front of him and couldn't help but take in a cold breath. Zhao Feng checked again and again to make sure that there were no mistakes. Master, how long will it take to solve the last mechanism? Zhao Feng asked. You've given me the blueprints, so I'll probably be able to solve it within half a day. At that time, the crystal coffin will open and you'll be able to obtain the three-flowered treasured lotus. Heian Master said. Half a day isn't long. Then how long do you think it will take for the others to reach the 3rd floor? Zhao Feng asked. They'll need at least 5 to 6 days to 10 days to reach the 3rd floor. Heian Master revealed a smile on his face. The passage to the 3rd floor, with the two of them working together, their speed was unparalleled in the continent. Good. It's going smoother than expected. Zhao Feng revealed a joyful expression as he sat down and took a sip of the 100-flower saint liquid before starting to cultivate. Chapter 294. Time passed quickly within the water moon's secret cave. The 9 rooms leading to the 3rd floor were filled with traps and dangers. The fan-flying bandit, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle's group's progress was extremely slow. With Zhao Feng and Heian Master teaming up, their ability to solve the traps far surpassed normal mechanisms masters. While the 3 groups were working hard to solve the traps, Zhao Feng had already started cultivating. He first took the 100-flower saint liquid. The 100-flower saint liquid was a secret liquid of the 100-flower chapter that could help one break through to the true spirit realm and transform their true force into the chi of true spirit. In essence, this liquid was an improved version of the shedding spiritual pill. In terms of effect, the 100-flower saint liquid was slightly stronger than the shedding spiritual pill, but it was gentle and released bit by bit. Using this liquid wouldn't cause one's cultivation to become unstable. My mental energy level is now stable and not weaker than those at the true spirit realm. It doesn't matter even if I take the shedding spiritual pill. Zhao Feng circulated his true force. After taking the 100-flower saint liquid, Zhao Feng felt the true force in his body slowly increase. As the medicinal effect continued, the transformation seeped into his flesh and blood. The shedding spiritual pill's effect was gentle, but it was extremely effective. Zhao Feng felt his cultivation quickly approach the peak 7th sky. At this time, Heian Master's face was full of exhaustion. He had also reached the last critical moment of solving the mechanisms around the crystal coffin. Zhao Feng stood up and took off his eye patch and fully activated his god spiritual eye to see every detail and feedback to Heian Master. Heian Master let out a sigh of relief. The third floor's core mechanism layout was much more difficult than he had imagined. His calculation ability had reached its limit. But with Zhao Feng's help, the pressure was halved. When the crystal coffin lit up with a rainbow light and the lid opened automatically. Fated ones, to be able to pass through so many barriers and reach this place, one can see your strength and intelligence. If possible, I hope that you, who will inherit this inheritance, can complete one of my wishes. A gentle male voice sounded. Zhao Feng and Heian Master's movements froze as they stared at the crystal coffin. Inside the crystal coffin, the corpse of the Water Moon pirate slowly stood up, his gaze deep and sincere. Could this be the reflective reconstruction technique from the Tianji inheritance? Heian Master took a deep breath and stared at the Water Moon pirate in the crystal coffin, who seemed to have come back to life. At this moment, the Water Moon pirate's body was indeed filled with life, and his voice came from his mouth. But these words and actions were set up before he died. Under a special trigger, they were reconstructed and played back. My last wish is in the three-flowered treasured lotus. As for the mystic flower treasured cannon, that is a sacred art of the evil path. TSK, it requires the blood of Virgin Yin to be used as a sacrifice. If you use too much force, the entire Water Moon cave will collapse. After the Water Moon pirate finished speaking, he swept his gaze around with a deeper meaning. His body slowly lay down again. His life aura was completely gone, and his body temperature returned to ice cold. Zhao Feng couldn't help exclaiming in admiration. The Heaven's Legacy inheritance actually had such a profound method, allowing the dead to temporarily reconstruct themselves. Up until now, everything had been in Zhao Feng's control. The only unexpected factor was that the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible actually needed this kind of blood of Virgin Yin. What's the blood of Virgin Yin? Zhao Feng asked curiously, but his hands didn't slow down as he quickly took the items from the crystal coffin. Meow meow. The little thieving cat excitedly jumped into the crystal coffin and jumped around the Water Moon pirate's body, quickly taking the treasures from the crystal coffin. The blood of Virgin Yin is the blood left behind by a girl with a special constitution during their first time. Heian Master lightly coughed and awkwardly explained. Zhao Feng finally understood why Master Bai wanted to bring Bai Qiaoyu in. Coincidentally, Bai Qiaoyu had also learned mechanisms and arrays from Heian Master. In just a short while, the man and the cat took all the treasures in the crystal coffin. The most valuable was obviously the three-flowered treasured lotus, which was even more valuable than the 100-flower sack and Water Moon God Peach fan combined. Apart from the three-flowered treasured lotus, the other items were all high quality and were all at least at the spiritual grade. Amongst them, there was one middle-tier spiritual grade item and three low-tier spiritual grade items. They were all of the same tier and far surpassed the items from the first and second floors. Mystic Water Saint Liquid, a Supreme Saint Liquid formed from the 100-flower Saint Liquid and three other Saint Liquids. Helps those at the true spirit realm comprehend the heaven and earth Tao, forming the root of law and increasing the chances of reaching the true mystic rank by 30%. Heaven Luo Mystic Cloak, impervious to fire and water, warm in winter and cool in summer. Formed from Heaven Luo Silk, extremely tough and can greatly reduce true force attacks. Those under the true Lord rank can't damage it at all. Life Extension Pill, increases lifespan by 50 years. Not effective against unnatural deaths. Every item that entered Xiao Chen's eyes was a precious treasure that was worth cities. Even if it was similarly a low-grade spirit-rank divine weapon, the value of one here was several times that of the same grade. This was especially so for the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid, Heaven Luo Mystic Cloak and Life Extension Pill. The Mystic Flower Saint Liquid could help one break through to the true mystic rank. Although the Heaven Luo mystic cloak wasn't strictly a spiritual grade item, it was extremely tough and hard to destroy. It could also reduce the impact of true spirit attacks. As for the life extension pill, it could extend one's lifespan and go against the heavens to buy life. The lifespan of a normal person was only 100 years, and a life extension pill could increase lifespan by half 100 years. Zhao Feng had received a total of 3 life extension pills. Everyone would only be able to use the first one to their full potential. Zhao Feng was only in his teens, and the life extension pill didn't have much attraction for him. On the other hand, Heian Master was over 100 years old and was moved by the life extension pill. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and gave one to Heian Master while leaving the other 2 for his parents. Heian Master was extremely grateful and immediately ate the life extension pill. There were 1 or 2 items that Zhao Feng didn't really need but were useful to Heian Master. Zhao Feng also gave them to him. Heian Master was filled with gratitude and respect. Before, when he was threatened by the fan-flying bandit, the latter had threatened him with his life and didn't give him a single treasure. On the other hand, Zhao Feng had given him several treasures, including the life extension pill. After taking all the items in the crystal coffin, Zhao Feng's gaze turned towards the mystic flower treasured Bible in the mystic ice crystal stone. Is there really no other way to obtain the mystic flower treasured Bible? Zhao Feng asked. No. Heian Master shook his head. The mystic flower treasured Bible required a special material to open the mechanisms. Without the material, it was useless no matter how high one's understanding of mechanisms was. Blood of Yin. Zhao Feng thought about it and gave up. Although the mystic flower treasured Bible was profound, it wasn't as strong as his lightning inheritance. Furthermore, you also need to open the mystic flower treasured Bible in order to open a door to the outside world. Otherwise, you'll need to wait at least 49 days for the entire water moon cave to sink. Heian Master continued. Hearing this, Zhao Feng couldn't help but think. After entering the 3rd floor, there was no new door. The door that they had come in from had automatically closed and there was no way out. This meant that if they didn't open a path, they wouldn't be able to leave. Oh well, without the determination to go all out, how can there be a fortune? Zhao Feng could only accept it. Entering the 3rd floor was another factor that exceeded his expectations. The first was that the mystic flower treasured Bible required the blood of Yin to open. The second was that they couldn't leave the same way. If you can refine the 3-flowered treasured lotus and make some preparations, you might be able to fight against those at the true spirit realm. Heian Master suggested worriedly. Okay. Zhao Feng nodded his head and listened to Heian Master's suggestion to refine the 3-flowered treasured lotus first. In its normal state, the 3-flowered treasured lotus was the size of a palm, but when it was used, it could turn into a 3-colored lotus stand. In reality, Heian Master was slightly worried about Zhao Feng refining the 3-flowered treasured lotus. The difficulty of refining the 3-flowered treasured lotus wasn't small. Firstly, it required a high spiritual sense. Secondly, it required a special skill or bloodline. But the result? Zhao Feng refining the 3-flowered treasured lotus was relatively smooth. His mental energy level was comparable to those at the true spirit realm, and his spiritual sense wasn't much weaker than those at the true spirit realm. When refining this treasure, Zhao Feng used his god's spiritual eye and the refining speed increased by several times. In terms of bloodline, he had an ancient bloodline that even the Flooding Lake City Lord wanted and forced him to marry. Therefore, Zhao Feng's refining speed was extremely fast with the help of the god's spiritual eye. 2 days later, Zhao Feng had successfully refined the 3-flowered treasured lotus. When the 3-flowered treasured lotus grew to 5 yards wide and blue, red and purple petals appeared around it, protecting Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng told Heian Master to attack him with all his strength. Pang! The petals around the 3-flowered treasured lotus intertwined and dissolved the attack. Zhao Feng sat in the middle and was unharmed. This treasured lotus could barely fit 1 or 2 people, and with their true force, its defense would be stronger and it could last longer. The three-flowered treasured lotus flying speed was also extremely fast, but the space in the tomb was limited. After refining the three-flowered treasured lotus, you can fight against one at the true spirit realm. However, facing two or more will be dangerous. Heian Master's expression was solemn. Hee, it's not too far off. I still have room to improve. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. He immediately sat on the three-flowered treasured lotus and started to cultivate. The three-flowered treasured lotus could release a fragrance that could help with cultivation and gather heaven-earth yuan qi. Zhao Feng took another small sip of the 100-flower saint liquid and circulated his true force to cultivate. In just half a day, Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the peak 7th sky. His cultivation was high enough at the peak 7th sky and he could circulate his true force as he pleased. At this point in time, there was only 1/3 of the 100-flower saint liquid left. Zhao Feng drank it all. On the basis of the 7th heaven, he continued to cultivate. He even swallowed a few other rare spirit pills in one go. Meow meow. The little thieving cat also furiously ate the other treasures and spiritual pills. Seeing the crazy actions of the human and cat, Heian Master couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. It didn't matter if the power of the spiritual pills would explode or not. Even if it could, the sudden increase in cultivation would probably cause it to become unstable. However, Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat couldn't be judged by normal standards. The little thieving cat couldn't explain it. Zhao Feng's mental energy level was comparable to the true spirit realm. It wouldn't be a problem for him to reach the true spirit realm in one go. 3 days later, a portion of Zhao Feng's true force had turned into the qi of half-step true spirit. Chapter 295. Third floor of the purple copper coffin. The blue-haired youth sat cross-legged on a lotus platform surrounded by 3-colored petals. He was wearing the Heaven Luo mystic robe, a blue and white robe that fit his body and made him look extraordinarily handsome. His deep blue left eye added a hint of coldness. At this moment in time, a faint aura of a half-step true spirit realm appeared on Zhao Feng's body. There was only one difference between the 7th sky and half-step true spirit realm, and that was the qi of half-step true spirit. Even if there was only a wisp of qi of half-step true spirit in his body, he would still be considered to have reached this level. With the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the 100-flower saint liquid, Zhao Feng's cultivation speed and the conversion rate of his qi of half-step true spirit rose to the extreme. On the side, Heian Master had a complex expression and a hint of respect. Using the water moon treasury, Zhao Feng had completed the half-step that many people couldn't even take decades to reach. And all of this wasn't due to luck or luck. Zhao Feng had stolen Heian Master from between the teeth of 3 experts at the true spirit realm. It could be said that he was stealing food from the mouth of a tiger. This 3-flowered treasured lotus is indeed worthy of being a support saint item. My mental energy level is already high, and with its help, I can comprehend and cultivate easily. Zhao Feng slowly opened his eyes. The qi of half-step true spirit within his body was still being converted. Zhao Feng's mental energy level was comparable to those at the true spirit realm and could absorb the heaven-earth yuan qi. With the help of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Heian Master watched as Zhao Feng's cultivation rose step by step. What surprised him was that Zhao Feng's control of the qi of half-step true spirit wasn't rusty at all. The light in Zhao Feng's eyes occasionally flashed, and the pressure it gave off was much stronger than any expert at the half-step true spirit realm Heian Master had seen before. He could see that Zhao Feng was trying his best to conceal his aura. In just half a day's time, the qi of half-step true spirit within Zhao Feng's body had reached 10%. This terrifying speed made Heian Master feel ashamed. Even if you have bloodline power, it would be very difficult to refine the 3-flowered treasured lotus so quickly if your spiritual sense isn't strong enough. Even with the help of the 3-flowered treasured lotus and 100-flower saint liquid, the conversion speed of your qi of true spirit shouldn't be this fast. Could it be that your talent is comparable to the legendary heaven spiritual body? Heian Master took a deep breath. He could not help but voice out the doubt in his heart. The heavenly spiritual body was said to be the highest aptitude in the legends. Only with this kind of aptitude could one cultivate at such a fast speed. If I had the heavenly spiritual body, I'm afraid I wouldn't be at the mortal shedding stage anymore. Zhao Feng shook his head and smiled. Putting aside the heaven spiritual body, even a high-tier earth spiritual body could reach the true spirit realm before the age of 20 in a prosperous place like the Canopy Great Country. He didn't explain as his mental energy aura suddenly rose and the heaven-earth yuan qi near the three-flowered treasured lotus became active. Heian Master's mental energy suddenly felt a suffocating pressure. Your mental energy level is comparable to the true human rank. No wonder you could refine the three-flowered treasured lotus so smoothly. The conversion speed of your qi of half-step true spirit is so fast. Heian Master's face was full of shock as he understood. If one's mental energy level exceeded their cultivation, then their cultivation speed couldn't be measured by normal standards. This was like a cultivator at the true spirit realm starting from the beginning. The advantage in cultivation would allow their cultivation speed to increase by leaps and bounds. It's already been 5 to 6 days and the three groups still haven't reached the third floor. Zhao Feng changed the topic as his eyes scanned the three directions. According to Heian Master's estimates, these people would need at least 5 to 6 days to 10 days to reach the third floor. This was a good thing for Zhao Feng. He had more time to prepare and cultivate. Gulu. The little thieving cat rolled down from Zhao Feng's shoulder and was currently sleeping. Its chubby belly was extremely cute. This greedy cat eats too much. Zhao Feng sighed as he put the little thieving cat back into his spiritual pet bag. Heian Master stared at the little thieving cat and felt his heart jump. This cat didn't just eat a lot. The treasures and pills it had eaten were enough to make several cultivators at the true spirit realm explode. However, the cat only ate its fill and started to sleep. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see that the treasures and pills the little thieving cat had eaten were quickly changing. The weird thing was that the little thieving cat's size didn't change. Zhao Feng wasn't sure of the little thieving cat's strength, but it should be able to easily deal with several cultivators at the half-step true spirit realm. The little thieving cat's sleep didn't look like it would wake up anytime soon. Its body was changing as it slept, just like how Zhao Feng had slept in the river for a month or two. That's right, little friend, you refined the three-flowered treasured lotus. What did the water moon pirate leave behind? Heian Master couldn't help but be curious. The water moon pirate was, after all, a legendary figure in the Canopy Great Country. What did he leave behind before he died? This will was within the three-flowered treasured lotus. Zhao Feng had refined the three-flowered treasured lotus, so he definitely knew the contents of the will. This will is related to Empress Qin. Zhao Feng's voice paused and he didn't want to talk about it anymore. But now, whether it was First Elder's letter or the Water Moon Pirate's will, Zhao Feng had to go find Empress Qin. This time, what kind of person was Empress Qin? Zhao Feng's heart was filled with expectation and wariness. But no matter what, this was his mission in the Canopy Great Country. While Zhao Feng was cultivating, the other three groups were trying their best to break through the tunnel. The 9th room on the west side. I'm just one step away from entering the 3rd floor. The fan-flying bandit was fully focused as exhaustion and excitement appeared on his face. Senior brother, just one more step and we'll be able to take back everything. The flower-dressed girl's face was filled with expectation. The two's hatred for Zhao Feng had reached a point where they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. Even if Zhao Feng was willing to give up everything and surrender, they would still torture him to death. At the same time, Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle were also in the 9th room, trying to break through the mechanisms. Even if that blue-haired brat gets the treasure, he won't be able to escape alive. The azure-robed Daoist's face was cold as the last mechanism in the 9th room was about to be solved. The 9th room on the south side. Master Bai, Can we not cause trouble for Brother Zhao Feng after we go in? Bai Qiaoyu said with a begging expression. Qiaoyu, you're thinking too simply. Even if we don't become enemies with him, will the fan-flying bandit let him go? Will the greedy severed blood bald eagle let him go? Master Bai shook his head. Hearing this, Bai Qiaoyu's expression dimmed and she didn't know what to say. Yes, the strongest party right now was still the fan-flying bandit. If Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle hadn't teamed up, they would have probably died already. How unfortunate, a rare genius like him. Master Bai said with a regretful expression. From the bottom of his heart, he somewhat regretted recruiting a genius like Zhao Feng. Otherwise, he might have been the one in control of the situation. But he was forced by the circumstances. This Zhao Feng had to die. The speed of the three groups had reached the limit. In terms of speed, the severed blood bald eagle's group was the fastest. The azure-robed Taoist was a grave robber master and was extremely experienced in mechanisms. Working together with the severed blood bald eagle, their speed was still slightly faster. Crack! The northern door opened and the severed blood bald eagle, the azure-robed Taoist, and another half-step true spirit realm entered the third floor. Zhao Feng. The three's eyes locked onto the figure in the middle. A blue-haired youth wearing the blue and white sky luo mystic robe was sitting on the three-flowered treasured lotus. Apart from him, there was also a short elder sitting slightly behind Zhao Feng. Looking at the empty crystal coffin with only a corpse inside, the faces of the severed blood bald eagle and the others changed drastically. Three-flowered treasured lotus. Mystic treasure Bible. This Brett stole all the treasures on the third floor. The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist were shocked and greedy before revealing expressions of joy and excitement. Quick! Kill this brat and take the treasures. The severed blood bald eagle and company leapt towards Zhao Feng. They knew how strong Zhao Feng was. He was stronger than normal half-step true spirit realm experts. And now, with those at the true spirit realm as the main force and two at the half-step true spirit realms supporting him, how could this brat not die? The severed blood bald eagle leapt towards Zhao Feng and unleashed a fatal attack. In that instant, the pressure from the true spirit realm made Heian Master's chest feel heavy and heavy. Zhao Feng sat on the three-flowered treasured lotus with a mocking expression. When green, blue, and purple petals extended from the three-flowered treasured lotus and formed a three-colored flower that protected Zhao Feng and company. Boom! The ferocious attacks landed on the three-flowered treasured lotus, but the latter was as steady as Mount Tai. Zhao Feng sat on the three-flowered treasured lotus motionlessly. The sky luo mystic robe on his body gently fluttered in the wind, as if it was untainted by the mortal world. How was this possible? The severed blood bald eagle and company's eyes bulged out. With the three of them working together, even a true spirit realm cultivator would be injured if not killed. However, the youth sitting on the three-flowered treasured lotus smiled mockingly and was completely fine. The three-flowered treasured lotus is indeed worthy of being a sacred item of the wicked path. The Water Moon Pirate relied on this to deal with the pursuit of the true Lord rank. Heian Master was overjoyed and couldn't help but exclaim. He had to admit that he had underestimated the three-flowered treasured lotus power. From the fact that the Water Moon Pirate buried it on the third floor, one could see how important this item was to him. How could this brat refine the three-flowered treasured lotus? The azure-robed Taoist roared in disbelief. The three furiously attacked Zhao Feng, but they couldn't break through the three-flowered treasured lotus defense. If they were outside, with the three-flowered treasured lotus's speed, it would have long since flown away. What's going on? I suddenly feel tired and want to sleep. The half-step true spirit realm pirate's eyelids were heavy and he couldn't stand straight. The azure-robed Taoist also felt extremely tired. The more I attack, the more tired I feel, not good. This is the three-flowered treasured lotus's supportive fragrance. The expressions of the three changed dramatically as they retreated. The three-flowered treasured lotus was a supportive sacred item of the wicked path. Apart from flying and defense, it could also release 3 different fragrances. Even those at the true spirit realm couldn't resist the power of this fragrance. Chapter 296. At this point in time, the expressions of the severed blood bald eagle and company changed. Wariness, unwillingness, greed, shock, all sorts of expressions appeared on their faces. The youth in front of them had taken all the treasures on the 3rd floor. As long as they killed him, they would be able to obtain the essence of the entire Water Moon treasury. However, this step stopped the severed blood bald eagle and company. 1 at the true spirit realm and 2 at the half-step true spirit realm couldn't defeat this brat. He's just an ant at 7th sky. No. When did this brat reach the half-step true spirit realm? The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist were filled with regret and unwillingness. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged on the 3-flowered treasured lotus with a cold expression and focused on cultivating. The 3-flowered treasured lotus is stronger than I imagined. Heian Master was overjoyed. Zhao Feng had just used his half-step true force to activate the 3-flowered treasured lotus to protect himself and use the hypnotic fragrance to make the severed blood bald eagle and company retreat. Zhao Feng, I suggest you hand over the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the treasures on the 3rd floor as soon as possible. Otherwise, you won't be able to hold on for long when the fan-flying bandit and Old Bai arrive. If you're willing to pledge allegiance to us now, we can join forces and save your life. The severed blood bald eagle and the azure-robed Taoist both spoke. Zhao Feng didn't bother with them and used the time to digest the 100-flower saint liquid and the other spiritual pills while circulating the chi of half-step true spirit within his body. At every moment, the chi of half-step true spirit within his body was being converted. Zhao Feng's actions made the severed blood bald eagle and company furious and embarrassed. Blue-haired brat, don't think that we can't do anything to you just because you have the 3-flowered treasured lotus. A cruel light flashed through the severed blood bald eagle's eyes as a low-tier spiritual grade blood blade appeared in his hand. With the help of the spiritual grade weapon, his offense increased dramatically as he leapt towards Zhao Feng. This time, Zhao Feng still circulated the 3-flowered treasured lotus hypnotic fragrance and the 3 petals surrounded Zhao Feng and Heian Master. Boom! The severed blood bald eagle's attacks were even fiercer. The 3-colored petals protecting Zhao Feng dimmed under the barrage of attacks. The petals protecting Zhao Feng dimmed a bit under the barrage of attacks. As long as 2 or more cultivators at the true spirit realm teamed up, there's a high chance of breaking through his defense. The expression of the severed blood bald eagle started to discuss with the azure-robed Taoist. The severed blood bald eagle's expression flickered as he discussed with the green-robed old Taoist. From the current situation, a cultivator at the true spirit realm couldn't do anything to Zhao Feng. Heian Master's eyes were filled with worry as he sent a message, even with my help, we can only block 2 at the true spirit realm for a while. The fan-flying bandit's strength is close to the true mystic rank and once 3 at the true spirit realm team up, the 3 treasured, but the 3 treasured. Although the 3 of the 3 of the 3, the 3 in of the lotus was of the lotus. Of yang of the 3. In the 3 of the 3. Feng of treasured lotus of Zhao of long demon, demon of as, the 3 of as of the 3. Faced with Heian Master's worries, Zhao Feng was indifferent and continued to cultivate. He had only digested half of the 100-flower saint liquid and other elixirs in his body, so he could continue to increase it. As for the cries of the severed blood vulture and the other 2, Zhao Feng simply ignored them. Seeing that it couldn't do anything to Zhao Feng, the severed blood bald eagle turned its attention to the mystic flower treasured Bible. Zhao Feng has the help of a mechanical grandmaster, but he did not obtain the mystic flower treasured Bible. There must be something wrong with this. The azure-robed old Taoist transmitted his voice. After checking, the 3 of them also found the problem with the mystic flower treasured Bible. We still lack 1 material to obtain the mystic flower treasured book. Otherwise, I'm afraid we'll have to stay here for 49 days. The green-robed old Taoist looked gloomy. What materials are you lacking? The severed blood-bald eagle was flustered and exasperated. The treasure was right before its eyes, but it couldn't do anything about it. There's a hint on the profound ice crystal that we need the blood of Een. At this point, the green-robed old Taoist almost cursed out loud. How could there be a virgin with a special constitution in this place that needed the first-time blood? Creak. The western door opened. 3-flowered treasured lotus. Mystic flower treasured Bible. The fan-flying bandit and the flower-dressed girl entered the third floor, and their greedy eyes scanned over Zhao Feng and the mystic flower treasured Bible within the profound ice crystal. Brat! Die! The fan-flying bandit's expression was cold as he waved the water moon god peach fan and attacked Zhao Feng. His attack was half a level higher than the severed blood-bald eagle's. The 3-colored petals protecting Zhao Feng and fan-flying bandit quickly dimmed. The fan-flying bandit's strength was close to the true mystic rank, and he had one of the water moon 4 treasures, the water moon god peach fan. Paw! At the critical moment, Heian Master placed his hand on Zhao Feng's shoulder and transferred his chi of half-step true spirit into the latter. When the 3-colored petals of the 3-flowered treasured lotus lit up again. Heian Master! You've obviously been hit by my 9-death flower poison. At the same time, Zhao Feng used the 3-flowered treasured lotus hypnotic and aphrodisiac fragrances. The 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance could enter the mental energy dimension, and its power was related to the owner's mental energy. How can you refine the 3-flowered treasured lotus and use the 2 fragrances? The fan-flying bandit was shocked and retreated a distance. The 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance could affect those at the true spirit realm. The fan-flying bandit could resist a bit, but the flower-dressed girl next to him couldn't. She took off her clothes and leapt towards him. The severed blood-bald eagle stood on the side and didn't attack. Once the fan-flying bandit gets the 3-flowered treasured lotus, even if Master Bai and I teamed up, we would still die. The severed blood-bald eagle had his own plans. Crack! Right at this moment, the southern door opened. Master Bai, Bai Qiaoyu, and the head of the Bai family entered the 3rd floor. What's going on? The situation on the 3rd floor caused Master Bai to be surprised. Zhao Feng was sitting in the middle, and the fan-flying bandit and severed blood-bald eagle didn't leap forward, as if they were wary of him. With the arrival of 3 experts at the true spirit realm, the situation became complicated. With my strength, I can kill this brat if I pay a small price. But with these 2 on the side, I'm afraid. The fan-flying bandit was wary of the other 2 experts at the true spirit realm. Master Bai and the severed blood-bald eagle teamed up once again. Only this way could they barely fight against the fan-flying bandit. Zhao Feng sat on the 3-flowered treasured lotus and continued to cultivate. Heian Master broke out in cold sweat. If the 3 experts at the true spirit realm teamed up, he and Zhao Feng probably wouldn't be able to last 10 breaths. Oh? The mystic flower treasured Bible requires the blood of Een? Master Bai's eyes flashed. It wasn't easy to satisfy the requirement of the blood of Een. The flower-dressed girl with the fan-flying bandit was definitely not a virgin. She came from the 100-flower chapter and was obviously very lewd. This girl, the azure-robed Taoist and the severed blood-bald eagle squinted their eyes at the same time as they looked at Bai Qiaoyu. The fan-flying bandit's eyes lit up as he realized this. Bai Qiaoyu was pure and kind and was only 12 or 13 years old. The fan-flying bandit had seen countless girls in his life and could tell that she was a virgin with one glance. Ha ha ha. Old man Bai, you're really smart. Why don't you let me take this girl's body? The severed blood-bald eagle laughed. Pah! You bald thug, what do you know? Little girl, don't worry, I'll let you experience something you've never experienced before. The fan-flying bandit waved the fan in his hand elegantly. You guys, being stared at by 2 bandits at the same time, Bai Qiaoyu's face went white. Master Bai, could it be that you the expression of the head of the Bai family changed as he quickly protected his daughter. When Bai Qiaoyu was very young, she was sent to learn mechanisms and arrays by Master Bai. This time, the opening of the Water Moon Treasury was also Master Bai's suggestion to bring Bai Qiaoyu in. Furthermore, Bai Qiaoyu just happened to meet the requirements. How could there be such a coincidence? Qiaoyu, this is your destiny. When the fan-flying bandits set up this secret cave, it was already decided. Who told you to have a cold-eaten body? Master Bai let out a long sigh. Bai Qiaoyu's face was ashen as her frail body lightly trembled. She didn't dare imagine what was waiting for her. Master Bai had secretly decided her fate from the moment she was born. Back then, there were many experts that were forced by the Water Moon pirate to dig the tomb. Afterwards, almost all of the participants were killed. However, after the Water Moon pirate died, there were 1 or 2 people that barely managed to escape. Although they died from the poison, they still managed to leak some information. The severed blood bald eagle looked at Master Bai. That's right, one of them was my younger brother, but he died too quickly from the poison. I only know a few secrets of the treasury, such as the materials needed to open the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. Master Bai said straightforwardly. Of the people that had dug the tomb, 2 had barely managed to escape. One of them was Master Bai's younger brother. The other person had drawn a map before he died and it had been lost for almost 100 years. In the end, the severed blood bald eagle had found the secret. This was the origin of what had happened today. Interesting. Very interesting. Then everyone, let's discuss how to deal with this blue-haired brat and how to split the treasures. The robed man had a bright smile on his face. Now, all the conditions for the wind-blowing treasure had been fulfilled. Zhao Feng was only passively defending. Once the 3 of them worked together, or even 2 of them, it wouldn't be a problem to defeat him. As for obtaining the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible, with Bai Qiaoyu as the material, it wouldn't be difficult at all. It was just a matter of who went first. We need to defeat this brat first. If we obtain the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible, we will open a new path and that brat will escape. The azure-robed Taoist said with a cunning expression. So that's how it was. Hearing this, everyone nodded their heads and felt that this brat was extremely cunning. This brat's so cunning. He wants to use us to obtain the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible and open a new path. Then, he will steal it and use the 3-flowered treasured lotus to escape. Master Bai's expression changed. Sitting on the 3-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng almost spat out blood. He hadn't done anything other than cultivate, but the 3 of them had accused him of this. However, even Heian Master next to him had a suspicious gaze. After all, they had all experienced Zhao Feng's ruthlessness and how he had overturned the situation. What do we do now? Heian Master's heart trembled as he watched the 3 at the True Spirit Realm approach together, planning to kill Zhao Feng. I originally wanted to play with them, but it looks like I'll have to change my plans. Zhao Feng's gaze turned towards the trembling Bai Qiaoyu in the corner. Back then, it was Bai Qiaoyu who had fished him out, which was why he had this fortune. But now, Zhao Feng knew how to repay kindness and decided to change his plans. Save Bai Qiaoyu. Chapter 297. The battle for the Water Moon treasure had entered the final critical moment. The 3 True Spirit Realm experts decided to work together to defeat Zhao Feng. Behind him, the green-robed Taoist, the flower-dressed woman, and another pirate had knocked out the head of the Bai family. Bai Qiaoyu's mobility was sealed to prevent her from committing suicide. The current situation could be said to be foolproof for the 3 parties who had joined hands. Let's kill this kid first and split the treasures evenly. Then, we can discuss the ownership of the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. The fan-flying bandit's face lit up. He had decided that once he killed Zhao Feng, he would obtain the 3-flowered treasured lotus no matter the price. At that time, even if he was injured, he had the Water Moon Immortal Peach fan to attack and the 3-flowered treasured lotus to defend. He was basically invincible. What should we do? Heian Master was like an ant on a hot pan. Although Zhao Feng had reached half a step into the true spirit realm and refined the three-flowered treasured lotus, it was still far from enough to block the combined attacks of three at the true spirit realm unless he could reach the true spirit realm. Finally. At this moment, Zhao Feng slowly got up and took off his blindfold. A condensed aura of the half-step true spirit realm radiated from his body, which was indescribable compared to those at the half-step true spirit realm. The chi of half-step true spirit has reached 10 to 20%. Heian Grandmaster's eyes brightened for a moment before dimming again. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. It was useless. In terms of cultivation, Zhao Feng was basically on par with Heian Master. However, even if the chi of half-step true spirit reached 90%, it was only half-step and not the true spirit realm. Huh. Blue-haired brat, you still want to put up a stubborn resistance even now? The severed blood bald eagle laughed maniacally and licked its lips. TSK, what trump cards do you have? Take them all out. The fan-flying bandit was not afraid. Master Bai's expression was indifferent, but there was a trace of vigilance in his heart. The calm expression on Zhao Feng's face had not changed since he entered the Water Moon treasure trove. Buzz! Zhao Feng merged his half-step true spirit chi into the three-flowered treasured lotus. In an instant, dazzling tricolored petals protected Zhao Feng and Heian Master. Heian Master laughed bitterly, and transferred his true power into Zhao Feng's body. Grandmaster, you should act according to the situation and save Miss Bai. Zhao Feng's voice resounded in Heian Master's mind. If I go and save her, what about you? Moreover, with my strength alone, how can I be a match for the green-robed old Taoist and the others? Heian Master almost vomited blood. Leave everything to me. Just do as I say. Zhao Feng's voice stopped abruptly. Bang! Pang! Boom! The attacks from the three true spirit realms landed on Zhao Feng at the same time. The three-colored petals around the three-flowered treasured lotus dimmed at a visible rate. At this rate, he wouldn't be able to last more than a few breaths of time. At this moment, Zhao Feng made his move. He took a deep breath, and his deep blue left eye seemed to turn into a cold pond that led to a bottomless abyss. A bone-chilling coldness seeped into the mental energy dimension. The three true spirit realms that were attacking instantly felt a coldness that made their hearts uneasy. Now that I have the foundation of a half-step true spirit realm, my mental energy is comparable to those at the true spirit realm. With the God's spiritual eye, I'm unparalleled amongst those at the same cultivation level. A bone-chilling light flashed in the center of Zhao Feng's crystal-like left eye. Shwa! Master Bai and the severed blood pirate froze. The struggle on their faces was covered by endless greed and viciousness. Kill! Master Bai and the severed blood pirate leapt towards the strongest fan-flying bandit. You too! The fan-flying bandit exclaimed and could only stop attacking Zhao Feng to deal with the frenzied attacks of Master Bai and the severed blood pirate. The scene was chaotic. Master Bai and the severed blood pirate had lost their minds and charged towards the fan-flying bandit. The fan-flying bandit had no choice but to wave his water moon god peach fan and counterattack. What's going on? Heian Master was dazed. Why would Master Bai and the severed blood pirate attack the fan-flying bandit? On the three-flowered treasured lotus throne, Zhao Feng stood with his hands behind his back. His blue hair blew in the wind and his expression was cold. One of his hands floated in the air as if he was controlling the heavens and earth. His left eye was bottomless and cold, as if it could freeze space itself. If one looked closely, they would find that Master Bai and the severed blood pirate's eyes flashed with a faint blue light. These people's mental energy level is on par with mine, but they've all been blinded by greed. I've used my God's spiritual eye to create a mental energy illusion. How can they block it? A cold smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Under the same cultivation level, he only needed one glance to decide the outcome of the battle. However, the situation wasn't so simple. Of the three at the true spirit realm, the fan-flying bandit's mental energy level was higher than Zhao Feng's and was close to the true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng's targets were Master Bai and the Severed Blood Pirate. How is this possible? Your eye bloodline can bewitch and control them? No, your mental energy level has reached the true human rank. The fan-flying bandit was stunned. He couldn't help but take in a cold breath. At this point in time, he understood that the biggest enemy in the Water Moon treasury wasn't the Severed Blood Bald Eagle or Master Bai. The most terrifying enemy was this youth. At this point in time, Heian Master understood, and the shock on his face was replaced by joy. He suddenly understood what Zhao Feng had said in the 9 rooms, "From now on, I control the situation." That's right. At this point in time, Zhao Feng had successfully controlled the situation. Not only had he obtained the essence of the treasury and refined the 3-flowered treasured lotus, he had also controlled the situation. How did you control 2 at the true spirit realm? Heian Master was in disbelief. In reality, Zhao Feng couldn't control 2 at the true spirit realm at the same time. This was a type of bewitchment and manipulation, similar to sowing discord. If Master Bai and the Severed Blood Bald Eagle weren't greedy, they wouldn't have been affected by the mental energy illusion. Furthermore, the 3-flowered treasured lotus under Zhao Feng's feet had a hypnotizing effect. What are you waiting for? Zhao Feng's voice sounded in his mental energy dimension. Yes, yes. Heian Master understood. He was going to save Bai Qiaoyu. But Bai Qiaoyu was being held hostage by 3 half-step true spirit realm experts, and the head of the Bai family had been knocked out. Heian Master's cultivation was the lowest amongst the half-step true spirit realm experts. How could he save her? In the corner, the azure-robed Daoist and the flower-dressed girl had gaping mouths as they couldn't imagine the chaotic scene. Right at this moment, Heian Master charged over. Plop! 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 The azure-robed Daoist and the other 2 half-step true spirit realm experts all knelt on the ground in a breath's time. Cold sweat seeped out of their foreheads. They were exhausted to the extreme and couldn't muster up any energy, as if they had been tortured for several days and nights. Heian Master was dazed. But from Bai Qiaoyu's angle, she could see everything clearly. In that instant, Zhao Feng's gaze swept over, and the 3 half-step true spirit realm experts all lost their battle power. What kind of method was this? Bai Qiaoyu's heart moved as she looked at the blue-haired youth. He definitely wants to use my blood of Yin to obtain the mystic flower treasured Bible. Bai Qiaoyu was slightly sad in her heart, but thinking about it, it wasn't unacceptable to give her first time to this youth who wasn't much older than her. At least it was better than being taken by those thieves. At this moment in time, her imagination ran wild. Right at this moment, the situation changed once again. Due to Zhao Feng being distracted and dealing with the azure-robed Daoist and the other 2, the effect on the 2 true spirit realm experts was greatly reduced. Master Bai and the Severed Blood Bald Eagle had almost recovered. Woo! Zhao Feng took a deep breath and circulated his god's spiritual eye to the maximum as he released the 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance. Soon, the 2 true spirit realm experts once again leapt towards the fan-flying bandit. Shwa! The 3-flowered treasured lotus under Zhao Feng's feet suddenly shook. The 3-flowered treasured lotus brought Zhao Feng to the mystic flower treasured Bible. At this moment in time, the mystic flower treasured Bible was right in front of Zhao Feng's eyes. Not good. This brat wants the mystic flower treasured Bible. The fan-flying bandit's expression changed dramatically. He saw Heian Master bring Bai Qiaoyu over to Zhao Feng's side. Zhao Feng used the fragrance of the 3-flowered treasured lotus and the power of the god's spiritual eye to stop the fan-flying bandit. Bai Qiaoyu's clear eyes flashed with tears as she looked at the blue-haired youth who had single-handedly controlled the situation. Zhao Feng didn't even need to use force. One of the 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance could even affect those at the true spirit realm. However, Bai Qiaoyu had already prepared her heart. This youth had an eye bloodline, and such a noble bloodline that had saved her from the tiger's mouth. If she had to sacrifice herself, she would only choose Zhao Feng. This was the only person she had a good impression of. Little brother, Heian Master brought Bai Qiaoyu in front of Zhao Feng with a complex expression. At this point in time, Zhao Feng was in control of everything. As long as he destroyed Bai Qiaoyu's body, he would be able to obtain the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible and open the exit. Everything, let's end this. Zhao Feng suddenly took a deep breath and circulated his qi of half-step true spirit, lightning, and bloodline power into his palm. His palm was surrounded by dark green lightning, condensed to the extreme, and dazzling. Let's end this. Zhao Feng's strongest attack landed on the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. Boom! In the next instant, the purple copper coffin started to shake. Crack! The cracking of the mystic ice crystal triggered a series of mechanisms. Oh my god, what are you doing? The fan-flying bandit felt that the entire secret tomb was sinking and was about to collapse at any moment. You actually, Heian Master was dazed. The Water Moon Pirate's corpse had already said that if he forcefully took the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible, the entire Water Moon Cave would collapse. Rumble. The entire Water Moon Cave started to shake. The fan-flying bandit was stunned and fearful as he pointed at Zhao Feng with a trembling voice. Master Bai and the severed blood bald eagle who had just woken up were also stunned by the scene in front of them. Bai Qiaoyu was also dazed. You actually, everyone stared at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't move and thought in his heart, I have the 3-flowered treasured lotus. Even if this place collapses, I still have a chance to escape. At this moment, the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible also landed in his hands, but a layer of cracks appeared on its surface. The weird thing was that the Water Moon Cave only shook for a moment, but it didn't actually collapse. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.